Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, let's get it started. Make sure you hit that like button on the way in. Let's get to discussing this topic at hand. This is Curtis King Reacts to a bunch of different things. I hope you enjoy. Please hit that like button. Thank you.
DIY.
New microphone alert. New microphone alert. Upgrades on the way. New microphone alert. New microphone alert. And I was doing all of my voiceover work with the good old TLM 103, which I love when it comes to rapping, but it is a pain in the ass when it comes to editing voiceover work with it. It is so sensitive to the highs and the lows of my voice. But with that said, shout out to the Shure mic. It's the podcast mic. They're not a sponsor, but shout out to them. We're going to test it out, see what it is, while I still got my 30-day warranty guarantee to come back and get it back. Either way, I'm glad that you're here. We got some stuff that we're going to react to. First and foremost, if you're coming on in here, I hope that you've had a great weekend. I hope you had a great Monday and all that good stuff. I want to say thank you for supporting this channel. Thank you for watching these videos on a regular basis. This, if you've been seeing the clips that are popping up on my YouTube channel, this is literally where we get these clips from. They're live streams like this. This will be a longer live stream, probably around, I'll say 2 hours, 2.5. But we're just going to be going over videos new and old, and I'm going to give you my input on them. Then I'm going to get your input, and we'll have a good-ass time here. 612, what's good? I haven't seen you in a minute. 612 music, what's good? Proxy, what's good? How am I sounding, by the way? Am I sounding all right? It's a new microphone. I still got to go get this little amp joint to go along with it. Cloud9 Music, Proxy, Sonic Boom. Hey, SR Senior, how you doing? Baltimore City in here, Solo Beats, LRN. You were so excited, you put F before you put first. You sound about $800 cheaper. Damn, Niles. Is it like that? Well, I'll be damn. Well, hopefully we can get that right. Yeah, you know what the other one, man? It sounds so clean, but damn it, it is and the implosions. Oh my gosh, I'll be feeling some of the comments that come through. They be like, "Oh my gosh, the implosions, Curtis, chill, bro." But yeah, it is definitely $800 cheaper. It's around 400 something. Yeah, it's about that. You right as hell. All right, I say we get into it. Thank you so much. So. First story up today is from an LA-based rapper who is a rapper's rapper. He is everything that you expect in a traditional, iconic sounding lyricist, right? He is a lyricist. Matter of fact, there's so many OGs that co-sign this lyricist. He has an issue though. He has a major issue with older producers. Let's get to the details of that right now. Let me make sure I get this chat out the way. So if you've never been here before, this is how it works. Come on in here. Feel free to give your opinion. We're going to go through multiple topics. I'm going to react in real time, and I'll come back after the reaction is over with and get your opinion on it. And then after that, we'll transition over to another story. Sound good? Jeez Louise. It's crazy how much dust you notice when you're looking up. You're looking at all that other stuff. Jeez Louise, come on, screen. Come through. All right, let's get to it.
DIY.
Okay, so I saw this story here on VS Gen, one of my favorite accounts to react to, and it included SYMBA. SYMBA is a lyricist based from Los Angeles. He's been getting so many different cosigns because of his classic lyricist approach. And some of those cosigns are coming from veteran producers who are like, hell yeah, that's what I'm talking about. When I say I want real hip hop to come back, it's folks like SYMBA. But he has an issue as he starts to work with some of those producers who give him all these props. He has an issue now that he's actually been in the sessions with some of these producers. Check out what he says.
And that's the issue. A lot of these old producers, listen to me. Y'all talk all this, we want hip hop to come back. And the minute we get in the studio with y'all want $100,000 for a beat. If you want this to come back so bad, why you taxing so much?
With a beat?
One beat. Bro, you would go spend a weekend with a producer and y'all get like 5 songs. Y'all on the Airbnb kicking it. You talking about life. We done smoked and talked about each other's kids. My son and FaceTime me. I'm like, what's up, man? Woo, woo, woo. All right, man, let's get this music out. I think we should do the video. Next thing you know, it's time to do the business. The label then called, yeah, he wants 80 grand a beat and a point on each. And he wants to own the master. And he... They just ate Popeye's chicken together for a whole 2 days.
Wait, how long does it take to do a beat?
5 minutes.
Wait, 5 minutes, do a beat?
And that's the issue. A lot of these old...
All right, so this is a common issue that you hear, or that we've been hearing as of late, of a lot of artists feeling like, regardless of how legendary a producer's name is, their budget is their budget. And because their budgets don't accommodate being able to work with the price of some of these producers, it puts them in a situation where it's like, I need you to work with me, OG. And to give a little bit more context, SYMBA says some more specifics in the comments of this actual clip, because I'm pretty sure a lot of producers got angry and were like, you know, how you going to come in here and try to, you know, lowball somebody's production, especially if they're a legend. We've done many clips in here. The recent clip we did was about Hit Boy talking about how younger artists who come into sessions with him sometimes end up not picking anything and resorting to YouTube beats. Not saying it like it's a bad thing, but they go there and at least I concluded that it's because it's probably more cost efficient. It doesn't eat through as much as your budget. That being said, the real SYMBA left a comment here on this very video, and he says, I'm not mad at no producer that's getting paid. Everybody deserves to be paid for their work, especially producers that's great at what they do. I'm saying there's a community of older producers who complain about younger, new artists not wanting to work with them. They say our music sounds microwavable and we're not being produced. But when we go to them for help, they take advantage of us. So is it really about making the music better, or is it about your beats not selling like they used to and you need some money? Even though he cleared this up, I think it might have still pissed some folks off. I understand where he's coming from. Now, another perspective is actually from a friend of mine's, Arrow. Arrow, you might have heard of him from doing production for Ab-Soul. I believe he did Pineal Gland. But he's done many records. Super dope producer who came up in the same generation that I came up when it came to LA-based production placements when I was pursuing that. He has a perspective that I always came up understanding that adds a little bit of a wrinkle to this. He says, the problem is that more than likely SYMBA is hanging out with older, established producers. At that point, that's like going to a Bentley dealership and then complaining about the prices. If you want brand name, they're going to tax you, especially if they have a deep catalog. That has always been the insight or the perspective that I have always been exposed to, is that the reason why these producers with these legendary catalogs, with these huge brands and names charge what they charge, because they position themselves just like a luxury vehicle. And if you know anything about the history of luxury vehicles, or even the present day, it doesn't matter what the economy is going through, their prices are not dropping off. Doesn't matter what's going on in the economy, their prices, the price of a Ferrari is going to be a price of a Ferrari. The price of a Mercedes is going to be the price of a Mercedes. And so a lot of producers have sort of compared and positioned themselves to be the equivalent of that in music. Only issue I have with that is that when you're talking about luxury vehicles, the reason why they don't have commercials, the reason why they don't have radio commercials or any of those kind of mediums is because people with money are not sitting around watching TV like that. Their demographic is likely in different places, adding to those millions and millions of dollars. They don't have a whole lot of leisure time. They're probably workaholics. They're probably folks who are responsible for employing hundreds of people. So there's a reason why you don't see them where they're at. Now, the flip side of that, when it comes to production, is that you're not just trying to work with people who have an elite amount of money, especially if you're a older producer who is concerned with staying relevant. And here's where the concept of staying relevant backfires. Because I think a lot of folks, especially in our culture, are so concerned with what have you done for me lately? Who have you worked with? Why is the price of your beat that? And when you rely on relevance, there's a necessity for you, even as an OG, to reestablish your dominance. There's a necessity for you to remind people, newer generations, younger generations, this is why I have the name that I have. LeBron James is not above that. Any legendary Michael Jordan surely is not above that. That's why even though he is no longer playing, you still see he has a say in culture through his shoes, through his Jordan brand. There's always a level of relevancy. Think about Shaquille O'Neal and how you see him on damn near in every damn commercial. You see him on insurance commercials and all of that. No matter how legendary he is, there is still a need to reintroduce yourself to a younger audience. Now, if older producers take on that reintroduction and they say, okay, that is a necessity, you can't play that luxury car pricing, especially when the budgets of these artists that are signing, I don't know who SYMBA is signed to, but when these budgets have shifted dramatically because the sources of income have shifted dramatically for your target audience of artists who rap a certain way, who want a certain type of sound within their production, it's up to you not to cheapen yourself, but it's up to you to update some of those terms. Would you say that's fair? Regardless of your name, if you're still seeing an emphasis being put on relevancy, you're going to have to readjust. So even though you are a Bentley, you may not necessarily be a Bentley to somebody who doesn't see the value of a Bentley. You may not necessarily be a Bentley to someone who has budget collectively to only purchase a Nissan in that sense of that example. And I think that's an issue as well, is that when you have older producers, I hear where SYMBA's coming from. When you have older producers that are up in arms about the microwavable nature of music, I think sometimes what they don't take into consideration is that there's more than just artist choice, rapper choice that affects the sound of music. We're going to go over some more videos after this one, but I think what's interesting about what SYMBA is saying is that in a very ironic way, these older producers are sort of playing the same game that labels played with them. Let me invite you into my home. Let me invite you into my space. Let's chop it up about life. Let's get on the same, let's build up a great rapport. Let's become friends today. But when the business comes, all that friendship shit is out the door. And I am expecting this from you. Now, I don't think that any of us should judge a producer's pricing. But I do think it is a bit contradictory to criticize the state of music but not adjust to the needs of those who also see it the same way that you do. If they don't have the money, they don't have the money. So are you going to make the decision to hoard your beats and then criticize what's not out there? When I listen to that, I understand the criticism, but I also see that there are probably people out there who see that as a play. Criticize music so much that you think that I am the only person that can save it, and you come to me to pay those prices. Is SYMBA wrong?
Producers, listen to me. Y'all talk all this, we want hip hop to come back. And the minute we get in the studio with y'all want $100,000 for a beat. If you want this to come back so bad, why you taxing so much?
Wait, a beat?
One beat. Bro, you go spend a weekend with a producer and y'all get like 5 songs. Y'all in the Airbnb kicking it. You talking about life. We done smoked and talked about each other's kids. My son and FaceTime me. I'm like, what's up, man? Woo, woo, woo. All right, man, let's get this music out. I think we should do the video. Next thing you know, it's time to do the business. The label then called, yeah, he wants 80 grand a beat and a point on each. And he wants to own the master. And
It is the old bait and switch, and it doesn't ever stop. 2 things I want to say to end this out. It's the same game. It's the same exact game that they have been playing for years. Now, instead of the suits doing it, it is producers who have justified this approach as this is the way that you do business. They have taken on the ways of the suits that they're working for, and now they're doing the same bait and switch with younger artists. I think it's unfortunate. The bait and switch that I'm talking about is get you comfortable in my environment, in my presence. Probably even boost up your ego a little bit, encourage you a whole lot, give you some gems, give you some game, get you high, give you a little bit of liquor, get on the phone, talk to your daughter, talk to your son, talk to your family, take a couple flicks for the Instagram. And then when it's time to actually do the nasty work, they don't actually talk to you. It's the labels that call with all of these details. It is the good cop, bad cop switch. So then that way, you can never say it's their fault indirectly. Oh man, that's just the labels being like labels. That is an old and tired game. Next, this one is going to be a little controversial of a stance on this, but I pay you $100,000. I need more than a 5-minute beat. I don't want your 5-minute beats. For $100,000, I don't want your 5-minute beats. No, Curtis, what you don't understand is it's not about the length of the beat. It's about the amount of years that they invested to become great enough to make a 5-minute beat. Give a shit. I don't want your 5-minute beat. I want production that doesn't feel like it's an assembly line. I want the same reassurance when I hear you as a producer ranting about the state of music, that when I come into this environment, that you are going to approach it with the same care and attention to detail that I do as a songwriter, that I do as a fan and supporter of hip hop. I want that same reassurance. I don't want your 5-minute beat. Well, maybe that's another reason why folks are choosing to go to the DIYers. I don't know. What are your thoughts?
DIY.
Oh, we starting. We starting early. Who I done pissed off in this already? Who I done pissed off already in this? All right, so what's your perspective on this, ladies and gentlemen? This is your turn. This is your time to give your perspective. Whether you agree with me or not, I am not here to judge that. That is none of my business. I just appreciate you having an opinion, and I feel like the conversation can be very healthy with two different sides of this. So, labels gave that fool a recording budget. He wants producers to make beats for 25. That's one perspective. I hear you. I hear you. I hear you. What else? 612, artists can produce the same music as the producer, independent music. Absolutely. This is the age of independence. And I'm telling you, it's about to go underneath a large shift. Rain Cloud says he's not blaming the label, though. He is blaming the producer, but the producer knows the label has a lot of money. I'm not sure exactly where you're coming from, but to me, I don't think it sounded like he's blaming the label. I never said he's blaming the label. He is saying that the entire reason why the producer wanted to even work with him is because they supported a narrative. That narrative is that hip hop is going to shit. Hip hop is too microwavable. Hip hop needs to sound a certain type of way. He's saying, I agree, OG. Let's get in this. I agree, OG. And I feel like because of the co-signing you doing with me and how much you support, I feel like I'm the type of artist to do that. OG says, I like that talk, young man. Come on into the studio. Come into the studio, and he taxing him his whole budget for production to work with him. Well, that is not in his, it seems from what he's saying, that he don't have the facilities, big man. He don't have the facilities to pay that price and still pay everybody else that's involved in the process. I think sometimes as producers, we really underestimate how much money artists have to actually spend to get their music out. And I'm not just talking about an artist as big as a SYMBA. I'm talking about independent artists. Who's the person that got to pay everybody when they're doing it right? Who's the person that got to pay everybody when they're doing it right? The engineer, the graphic designer, the producer, the 10% to the manager. Who is the person that has to pay all that? So I think it's really important. What's good, oh gosh? I think it's really important for us to take a zoomed out point of view on that, because I get we want to get as much money as we want to get as producers. I'm with you. I am with you. I am with you. I'm the producer guy with you. But I think we also gotta recognize that we're supposed to be on the same side as these artists, especially if we desire to work with an artist, because there's a lot of shit they gotta pay for. Studio time. It's the last time you as a producer paid for studio time. I don't pay for studio time. I got my whole set. I'm just saying we got to take that in consideration, especially when we think about our entire ecosystem. I think it's important. Are my plosives crazy? What's good? How am I sounding? Am I sounding all right? Pause. It sounds like those producers do see a lot of value in SYMBA's back end. Come on, Niles. Come on, Niles. The producers don't F with them like that. Come on, Niles. Not the back end. Not the back end. I feel like he should expect producers to come for theirs, especially since producers have been getting waxed since been getting waxed. Not saying he should drop the whole bag, but it is what it is. Yeah. I'm going to say what he's probably not. I'm going to say what I think he's trying to say, but he's not saying because he don't want to burn bridges. If you don't want to work with these younger artists that are going to actually bring to life the sound that you want, shut the fuck up. Stop complaining about the sound of music. If you feel like your music is if you feel like the absence of your music as a producer is the reason why music is going to shit, adjust to what's going on. Since you're playing the music industry game, you're playing the label game. Well, the labels no longer have the budget that they once did to give 6 figures for a music producer on their production. If you know that and you're not willing to adjust to it, shut the fuck up. Shut up. Shut up. He ain't gonna say that because he still want to work with these producers, but I'm gonna say it. As a producer, I'm saying that. Mont Dog said, you don't have to pay $25K, but you shouldn't expect dirt cheap prices. I'm with you. I'm not saying that we need to all collectively go down and just give away the production, especially when you do position yourself as a Bentley. But also, too, I think that there needs to be a lot of understanding on both sides. And I think that SYMBA clarified where he came from in that comment. But I think that as the OGs that are involved in this, they got to also clarify. Like, they have to understand that I'm about 90% sure the music sounds the way that it does because of decisions that happen outside of the studio before the music is even made. And if you understood that as a producer, you might look at this microwavable generation a little bit different. When the people who are cutting the checks that can inevitably pay that producer what they're worth are shifted, when they're different, you got to take that into consideration. Either way, this is a good conversation. Producers shouldn't be asking for anything past $5K with the artists like SYMBA. You're almost idiotic to ask for anything more than that. That's strong. They're not making no money anymore with streaming. It's what they feel like that. I feel SYMBA, though. Look, it's a different economy. And you would be a bad president if you were taxing the citizens of if you was taxing the citizens of the United States by the standards of 1994 in 2023 because you the big bad government. It's a lot of people that's going to get hurt in the process. There's a lot of situations that are not being taken into consideration. So, take a few more of these and then we'll get to the next topic. Producers should also make sure their back end is straight instead of relying on upfront fee. So, what he said was that they're asking for not only that upfront fee, but they also want that income on the back end as well. And he's like, bro, like, how am I supposed to be a sustainable artist if you're depleting my budget? Because if you deplete my budget, I am no longer able to build upon what we're already doing, at least through the medium of music, because you're depleting it on the front end and on the back end. So how do I expand? And once again, let's zoom back out. If we're all in accordance, if we're all in agreement that we want to push this sound forward, we want to preserve the sound of hip hop. If that is the goal, there's got to be some sacrifice on both ends. Well, if you milk and squeeze the budget out of an artist and they're not able to expand what they're already doing, how are you going to preserve that sound? They won't even be able to afford album number 2. At least not in the ecosystem that they're at. It's two different conversations, and I feel like no matter what, some kind of compromise is needed on both sides, right? But either way, it's got to figure itself out. Because hip-hop is shifting. As you saw with the video today, hip-hop is shifting. It's got to shift. To throw him some bail, though, a lot of these mother effers mad because nobody coming to them anymore because they refuse to change. So I see his side, too. That's another perspective. There's a lot of stubbornness going on with the producers as well. Producers and artists should talk about the business early on instead of after they left the studio. But see, Applejacks, I'm with you. I agree. But you know what I think? You know what I see is happening also? They're not even getting that opportunity because they're being told that they don't want the artist and the producer handling the business. The artist is being told that if you want to stay in our good graces as a label, you let us conduct that business. You owe us money. You're on a loan right now. Right? You're on somewhat of a bank loan, not an exact bank loan, but you're on somewhat of a loan from us. You listen to us. We conduct that business. Are you going to be owing us for the rest of your career? And I think a lot of folks put that trust back in them. Good points y'all making, though. I love this. I love this. I love this. All right, you ready to get to the next one? That was a good way to start it off. Let's get to the next one. Let's get to the next one. Because everything is kind of leading into the same topic, ironically. There's something happening, I'm telling you, in mainstream hip-hop, there's something happening, and it's always going to be it's always going to affect us in some way, somehow, here as independent artists and DIYers. So it's important we take heed.
DIY.
Okay, next story up. Producer Culture, shout out to Producer Culture. They posted this clip. I'm not sure exactly when this clip was made, but a well-known producer by the name of Buddha Bless the Beat, who I believe is originally from Long Island, New York, and is now based in Atlanta. He had what seemed like a bit of a free-flowing rant on I think it was an IG live stream. But he kind of is helping all of us to understand what's going on behind the scenes of a lot of this mainstream music and the business of it that is ultimately changing the sound of music. Listen to what he said. Listen to what he said here. The caption reads, "It ain't about what's best for the project no more."
Y'all listen to me. Budget control. Niggas only pushing shit through.
Let me refresh this.
One thing that's fucking up this industry and music today is budget control. Y'all listen to me. Budget control. Niggas only pushing shit through. Engineers, label people, A&Rs. They only pushing shit through that they get a percent off of. It ain't about what's best for the project no more. It's about what this motherfucker get a percent of. Engineer gonna play that song 100 times for a fucking artist until it beat it in his head that he gotta put this on his album. A&R gonna drag this producer in 100 beats in, cause whenever shit get placed, he get 5 to 10% of it. Like, y'all stop fucking up the sound, man. Y'all do is, you know what I'm saying? Y'all do is right, man. It's gonna pay off in the long run. You get to keep your jobs, and their shit look better when albums is triple platinum and all that shit. Folks believe you then. Stop fucking shit up.
Buddha bless this beat. Buddha bless this beat. He's telling you what's happening. I want to start a new movement. I don't care how much traction it gets. I'm going to stand on this. And eventually I'm going to make a clip for this. Keep the suits out the music. 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 You ever work a job and had a superior? You ever work a job and have a supervisor that you know has never done the job that you're doing come in and try to tell you how to do things? I did one time. When I worked at Quiznos, it was my first week there. And I was like a chicken with his head cut off. I was just trying to make sure I can keep up with the lunch rush and all these different things. Then the owner comes in. You would think that he's pretty well read about what needs to be done in order to run a successful Quiznos. Here's the thing. I couldn't tell when he was testing me or when he didn't know what the hell he was talking about. Case in point, he came to me one time and he said, "Curtis, this bowl of beans and this marinara, can they be mixed together and put into the fridge?" I was like, is this a trick question? Then it dawned on me he didn't know. But he was using his authority to make me feel like it was a test. And I told him no. He said, "Good job." That ain't no real question. Your ass just didn't know. This is what I feel like is happening right now, and it's been happening. This is nothing new. This is what I feel like is happening in the music industry. And I feel like for the first time, those decisions that are made outside of the studio by people who have never put fingers on keys, who are only concerned about the bottom line, who don't understand the psychology about why people attach to music, who don't even understand why people are passionate about music, who for sure don't understand any of those inner workings. When those people have a say in the matter, they put people in the room because it's good for business and not necessarily great for music. What Buddha Bless the Beat just said has me thinking, specifically when he said this about how an engineer will almost like aggressively push a sound on an artist so they can get a play for the producer that they get a percentage off of. They'll push beats. They'll get a producer in there and that producer will play 100 beats. It's got me thinking a little bit differently about that video we did. You can go check that up here. That video that we did that was talking about the producers playing sometimes, I think it was TNT saying I play 50 beats. And I feel so offended for him. You play 50 beats and that ain't pick one? It's got me thinking if some of these scenarios, not for a TNT, but just any of these producers, it's got me thinking, do they go through 100 beats? Not just because the artist is not feeling it, but do they get the grace of 100 beats being played because somebody else in the room needs this play to go through? And if that's the case, we're forcing the issue. They are forcing the issue for money plays that are not the best decisions for the music. Now, there might have been a place in time where that model worked. The assembly line of a Motown, the 90s assembly line of bringing a pop singer in, having songs already written for her by folks who have all of these Grammys, who are award-winning and they're reliable. Bring the song to the artist, get the stylist for them, and then push them through this assembly line, and you're almost guaranteed to make millions and millions of dollars. That model has been around. But something really interesting is happening with the way that I feel Gen Z is reacting to a lot of this music that is being pushed by these suits who should have no place in the music. Let me play this clip again.
One thing that's fucking up this industry and music today is budget control. Y'all listen to me. Budget control. Niggas only pushing shit through. Engineers, label people, A&Rs. They only pushing shit through that they get a percent off of. It ain't about what's best for the project no more. It's about what this motherfucker get a percent of. Engineer gonna play that song 100 times for a fucking artist until it beat it in his head that he gotta put this on his album. A&R gonna drag this producer in 100 beats in, cause whenever shit get placed, he get 5 to 10% of it. Like,
sheesh.
Y'all stop fucking up the sound, man. Y'all do is, you know what I'm saying?
You know why folks fuck up the sound? Buddha Bless the Beat. Because they don't understand it. They don't care. That's what I conclude from that. The more stories that I hear of the suits that get involved, and they're not always in suits. We just call them suits because they're out of uniform. I call them suits because they're out of uniform. They don't wear the music the way that we wear it. This is something that I hope us as independent, as DIYers, I hope that you listen to stories like this. And it reminds you of the freedom that you have. Sometimes we don't see the freedom that we have to work with whom we want to work with what programs we want to work with. Because don't think for a second this is just specifically about producers and artists and engineers working with each other. You trying to tell me you don't think some of these plug-in companies have a monopoly on studio sessions? Have a monopoly on being considered the industry standard? You don't think money plays a role in that? Okay. So it goes across the board. So now you're dealing with an industry. You're dealing with an ecosystem. You're dealing with a league that makes decisions that are about the bottom line. And for the first time, they're not actually meeting or matching where they need the bottom line to be. They're making all of these very non-musical decisions about what the music should be, and it's backfiring. Here we are now, 6 months into this year, and there's yet to be a number one album from hip-hop or a number one song. Actually, at the recording of this, I think Gunna is projected to be number 2 on the charts. So still, no number one. Something is shifting. Listeners are asking for something more. And when those who are connected, when those people who are naturally connected to music because it fills them up with something, feel disconnected from an entire genre that we know, at least on the mainstream level, has influence from people who don't even create the music, when they start rebelling against that, heads start to roll. Jobs start to get lost. The artist is going to always be here. The artist will find a way. If they love what they do, they'll always find a way to go ahead and push their campaign forward, whether it's independently or whether it's through someone else's label situation. But I think it's officially time, more so than ever before, because now the idea of winning. I saw somebody say this the other day in one of my feedback sessions. They were like, you can't be mad at people, Curtis, who are artists who are following other sounds because it's winning. The question I had for him, and the question I have for anybody who feels like that today, is what is winning? How do we define winning when winning is not the same winning that it was last year, at least for the genre of hip hop? What is winning? And could there be wins that are not necessarily as celebrated as the wins of the mainstream happening in the independent world, in the DIY world? And are you willing to pursue those, knowing that you're not going to get the same critical acclaim, the same distribution, the same fame and popularity as the things that do get pushed through that ecosystem? I don't know. Those are some of my thoughts, though. What do y'all think about what Buddha, bless this beat, just said?
DIY.
Something's shifting. Something's shifting. Something's shifting. Something's happening. Something's happening. Something's happening. Something is happening. All I know is if I had a basketball team, all I know is if me and you was picking folks to be on a basketball team, right? Say we out in the park, we picking folks to be on the basketball team, and I want to win the game. I'm not picking you because you was my ride to the park. I don't give a shit. I don't give a shit you gave me the ride. I'm not picking you because you were my ride to the park. I'm not picking you because you might be able to buy me a taco if we go to Jack in the Box after. You're not good for the team. We play the same position. Maybe you're terrible at shooting. And I feel like a lot of that is going on right now where people are being put in position. They're being put in position because of just merely their connection. And they're not even making a connection with the person they're working with. That's why you go through 100 beats. Ain't nobody that picky. You going through 100 beats because you're allowed to go through 100 beats with an artist. Because somebody's trying to make a play. Somebody's trying to get that placement. So, what you're saying about music directly applies to film. Interesting, Alexander. He says a director equals producer, actor equals artist. Damn. That's a great analogy. I never even thought about it like that. Bonafide B said when the label's involved, it becomes crabs in a barrel mentality to secure a placement check. And if that's how it's always been, Bonafide Beats, imagine this. How much worse has it become as the money has gone down, or as the revenue streams have started to dry up. How bad do you think it is now? How desperate do you think some people are who get hired on as an A&R and they're just looking for that? They're just looking to hit one home run. How desperate do you think it's gotten now? That's my question. Like, cold game, man. Cold game. Don't worry about who does or doesn't give you a break or work with you or give you a discount. Keep making great music till you can't be ignored. When your time comes, they all want to work with you. Tax them or be the change you wish to see. Okay, I think you were referring to the other story. So for those of you that came in here for the SYMBA story, that was the first thing that we covered. You can always go back to it. I set the DVR mode so you can go back to it. But we're on to the second one. It's making quality music for your fan base. Everything has to be homegrown and organic. I think a lot of us, and this is going to lead into the next story, I think a lot of us are in a place right now where everyone individually in here that is a music producer, that is an artist, you're at a crossroads right now. We're going to talk about this in the next story, but you're at a crossroads. And although we all at some level want to be successful at this, I think it is time for us to clearly identify what that success looks like, or we're going to just continue to be falling into one rabbit hole after another. So, music is getting ready to do a huge divide, especially as AI becomes more incorporated in everything. It's getting ready to have a huge divide. And what side you stand on is ultimately your choice, especially as an independent, but even more so than now, even more so than ever. I feel like that's what it is. But you have so much more freedom. As I'm sharing, I just hope that you understand this. As I share these things with you, I don't share these things with you to scare you or discourage you or make you feel like the big boogeyman industry is not worth going into. I have too many friends who are succeeding within it. But I also hear them on their good days and their bad days. And when I see stories like this pop up from producers I've never met who are saying the same things, everybody has a different breaking point. So I share these with you so that you're educated on it, so that you are exposed to it, and that you know how to move as you get into it. Just giving different perspectives on it. But right now, you'll see by the next video what I mean. Right now, there's going to be a choice you got to make. The producer, beat maker is 100% the owner of the music until further notice. It's almost like as if producers, we are kind of forced to be artists, at least for one project, to have streaming revenue and a body of work you completely own. That's definitely trending in that direction. As a female music producer, it took me 3 years to finally get some of my music placed. Yeah, it is a complicated field, especially when you're dealing with folks who are not secure in their position. I'll tell you that for sure, Goddess Melinda. Hard Fact says streaming is killing the art and devaluing the experience for the listener supporter. Thank you for saying that, because you're gonna lead us into our next story. So, great points, by the way. Thank you so much for contributing these points to everything that we're saying right now. I got another story for you. And this one comes courtesy of a very popular YouTuber that popular at least in the music producer community, and Venus Theory. And he has a theory about, ironically, he has a theory about why music is starting to sound exactly the same. There's many different reasons why, but I really like two parts of this video that breaks it down. And once again, it encourages me to say, get these suits out the music. 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 Fam, get these suits out the music. I gotta make that a clip. All right, let's move to this next one. Let's move to this next one.
DIY.
Let's move to this next one. Get these suits out the music. Get these suits out the damn music. I'm going to keep on saying it until it's embedded. They don't know what the hell they be talking about when it comes to music. No suits in the booth. Oh, I like that. No suits in the booth.
DIY.
Okay, one thing YouTube is going to always do, they're going to suggest me a video a million times. And when they suggest me a video a million different times, it's probably a good reason why. One of those videos that got suggested to me damn near a million times was a video from a popular YouTuber named Venus Theory. And in this video, he's talking about something that he has called the playlistification of music. And what I gathered from it as we go through this clip is that this is partly the reason why music is sounding so much alike, why it's so homogenous. Listen to what he says.
If you've ever created a song and wanted to release it as an independent artist and get featured on playlists and different streaming services, you've likely used some kind of service like SubmitHub. Using these services, we can upload our song, pay for some credits to pitch to various curators, and then find a list of curators that would be most likely to promote the song based on their general preferences. However, if we take a deeper look, these are often very, very specific. As anyone who's submitted something on SubmitHub can tell you, you get denied for the most obscure and hilariously specific reasons.
Thanks for sending over your music. Really well made tune. Good production. Interesting sound design. Solid work overall. I'm not sure I'd do justice to a tune like this on my channel. I tend to go for a different feel. Pass for now. Best of luck with the release. That is the feedback from someone who is a playlist curator who is obviously doing well for themselves to the level that when you submit off to them, it has value. That's their feedback. As I read through this feedback, actually, let's go to another one. Hello there, an amazing experimental creation with neoclassical elements and an atmosphere that mirrors the hypnotic elements of ambient music. Wonderfully sustained piano chord progressions. Pianissimo dynamics, techno and post-rock influences. Unfortunately, as an ambient creation, has a very obvious down-tempo character. That is fantastic, but would not fit my synth-based ambient playlist. When you listen to those feedbacks, who do they sound like? Do those sound like musicians or scholars of music? Or do they sound like music listeners? Or do they sound like snobbish ass producers who are do they sound like the police officer who used to get punked when they was in high school and then they finally got a job as a police officer and now they punking everybody that they pull over? I'm just the one asking questions. Don't mind me. Continue, Venus Theory.
Who submitted something on SubmitHub can tell you, you get denied for the most obscure and hilariously specific reasons. Because of
It sounded like it was made by ChatGPT, by the way.
the nature and function of curated playlists in the streaming economy and the algorithms of platforms like Spotify or TikTok, artists are faced with an incentive to create music that fits into these very specific parameters like song length, structure, melodic content, mood, tempo, and instrumentation in order to get their tracks accepted and placed into the playlists or parts of the algorithm that garner the most.
So, when you are asking for submissions for your playlist, which you have every right to, create rules, create parameters, or create categories that you want the music to fall in, you start to change the structure of music for other people, especially those that see value in being on your playlist. I don't think it's done purposely, but when I look at these requirements, where a general playlist requirements, they want to know the length of the song, they want to know the structure, they want to know the melodic content, the mood, the tempo, instrumentation. These all sound like things that are very convenient to train an algorithm. They don't sound like things that are very They don't sound like things that fuel creativity. Now, one who is creative will find a way to adjust to these things, but I think the question is, why are you readjusting to them? Or why are you adjusting to them? Because whatever that decision is, I think it's very important to identify if that is a music decision or if that is a business decision. Continue, Venus Theory.
Attention. This, I think, is what fundamentally leads to the homogenization of music as an art form, because diversity and creative experimentation really aren't encouraged. Instead, it's almost incentivized for artists to create things that sound more or less the same, that can be easily categorized and sorted onto the right playlist to provide the end listener with the most satisfying listening experience.
What he said. Music, then, when you set these rules for those who value to be a part of your playlist as a playlist curator, hopefully you're someone who understands music to a level of just beyond it's a vibe. Hopefully you're somebody who understands, like, it's important to leave the room open for something different. Underneath the umbrella of that specific genre, it's important to leave those different moments to be there. Those different moments produce artists like Tyler, the Creator, like Kanye West, like Kid Cudi. Those produce artists like Outkast. Those different moments that don't fall into a very convenient shaping create some of, at least for me, some of my favorite music. But once again, this is a playlist curator who is absolutely allowed to do whatever the hell they want with their playlist. But I think a lot of them are underestimating just how much of an effect that could possibly have, especially on younger music creators. And maybe that's always been a thing. Maybe before it was playlists, maybe it was mp3.com and trying to get an editorial review of your music. Maybe that's what was shaping it. But we know how important playlists are compared to blog posts and editorial reviews way back when. But continue, Venus. Okay, so I want to skip past this part because I want him to get into something that he calls the endowment effect.
On most streaming services, a play really counts as the first 30 seconds of a song being played continuously. So what's an artist to do? Generally speaking, we probably want to get to the goddamn point as quickly as possible and put the hook or the chorus right up front to be nice and catchy so that we can give the listener a reason to continue listening. Because a skip costs nothing and there's essentially infinite music to be explored, there's been exponentially more importance placed on this initial hook, and I think this is a large part of why so many popular songs start with this gross sort of, ooh, please make me go viral edging tease of a chorus right off the bat.
Is that why y'all be sending me these beat critiques and these song critiques where you start on a 10 in the first 2 seconds? I'm gonna pull out the hairline I got left if y'all send me another song where you put every instrument that was ever added, every ad lib that you ever did in a song. It's like you took all the stems. You know how like people master an album and they'll take all the songs from the album and they'll see how they match up, but they never actually play on all the music. They do them solo. That's what it sounds like with some of this music where y'all are stuffing your whole life story of a song in the first 30 seconds, try not to get it skipped. It sounds like music that is inspired by fast-paced drugs. This shit is crazy. But he makes a valid point in that the TikTokification also of music and trying to go viral and trying to say something super witty or something super goofy in the first 15 seconds in an effort to go viral, that is going to be seen as a sound 30 years from now. And whether or not we frown upon it, I don't know. I kind of feel like my gut instinct tells me we'll look back at this and say, what a chaotic time it must have been. These folks are making music like they all on the same drugs. It's just crazy. But it's very true. That changes the structure and it changes the sound of music. And these are not music-based decisions. These are business-based decisions. Get the suits out the booth.
Combining this with the new modern viral attempt hit structure, a reliance on a level of melodic and harmonic predictability, the dialing down of instrumentation, delivery, vocal style, arrangement, and instrumentation, we land at the new world that so many music critics have tried to put a name to, with Spotify core, stream bait pop, Spotify lounge, and so on.
I'll be damned. I'll be damned if I name my music genre after a whole ass streaming service. I'll be damned. I love DistroKid with all my heart. I'll be damned if I make DistroKid hop. I love you, DistroKid, but I ain't making no damn DistroKid hop. I am not associating my... The hell are we doing? What you make? Oh, I make Coca-Cola pop. The fuck is... What is Coca-Cola pop? What is that? What is it? What does it sound like? I don't care. I don't want to hear it. Every day, I promise you, we getting closer to the things that we saw. Remember that movie Demolition Man with Sylvester Stallone and Wesley Snipes? Every day we're getting closer to what they predicted, in that music is one day going to be 15-second jingles. This is crazy.
This sort of starry-eyed, hazy, mid-tempo, understated pop approach with wispy vocals has become a staple of most algorithm-driven streaming and social media services. It's music that's designed to be inoffensive, consumable, disposable, and it's music that ultimately keeps the silent majority of listeners and consumers on the platform. This new sort of paradigm of the mass consumption of music as a product has led to this weird form of, I guess, what ultimately amounts to the endowment effect. We, as musicians and artists and the true artist archetype, become insanely frustrated when we see some gimmicky meme song blow up and go super viral, whereas we spent days or weeks or months or longer toiling away, pouring our hearts and souls into this music for it to flop and die alongside everything else on streaming services. And we feel that we're entitled to the attention that the other thing got because we simply worked harder and we're the true artist or whatever. And this leads to, I guess on the consumer side, what I would refer to as the bar gig problem. Because my wife and I live in the Nashville area, I can't so much as take a dump at a truck stop without someone being on a corner stage with an acoustic guitar just a strumming and a singing their heart out on all these bum me out songs that are super deep and meaningful to them, and then sprinkling in the odd original they wrote in between bouts of them begging people to follow them on Instagram. The thing is, it's not that this person is a bad musician. It's not that the songs they're singing are bad songs. It's not that their own original songs suck. It's not anything about that whatsoever. It's that I probably came to the bar to eat hot wings and drink my fucking beer and not listen to you wear your heart on your sleeve for an hour and a half straight.
So it's very important. It's very important what he's saying, in that there's two sides of the coin. For those of us that are like, hell yeah, let's talk that shit, Curtis. We need to be making the music we want to make. Follow no rules. Oh, hold your horses there, bucko. Hold your horses. I ain't saying all that. I'm not saying be different for the sake of being different. Because in that logic, you're doing the opposite of that. Excuse me. In that logic, you're doing the same thing as someone who structures music. Now, you are approaching your creative ideas and saying, if it's not sappy enough, if it's not emotional enough, if it's not different enough, then that's not the music I want to make. Well, once again, those don't sound like creative-based decisions. They sound like decisions that are based in ego and related to music. Why is it so important for you to be different from everybody else? Do you not see value in having something in common with your fellow man or woman? And what makes you feel like just because you love your music so much more than the other person that you're deserving of everyone's support, including the ones who do gravitate to that popcorn microwave music? Those folks are being supplied something that fulfills a need, or at least satisfies their palate. So on the flip side, there are also a lot of artists out here who are dropping the ball because they're not seeing ways that they can put their music in the proper packaging as they wanted to, as they intended to, but put it in the proper packaging in which they highlight the things that people actually want from it. I've seen so many passionate lyricists bar up and go crazy and then share it on social media. But they're losing the perspective that some people just come to social media not to do all that thinking. Some people come to social media for a quick little boost. And if they don't know what the hell you're saying, no matter how passionate you are about what you're saying, can you blame them for not rushing to stream your music? He talks about the bar analogy. I just got off a tour. And one thing that I continued to hear artists say was, I need y'all to give me energy. I need y'all to give me energy. Come on, y'all. I need more energy than that. And then it dawned on me. We sound like vampires when we do that. What about us giving the energy to the audience of folks who are blue-collar hard workers that has spent their one day off to come into the bar and drink and just so happens to be at a show? We want to antagonize them further after they bossed them and yelling at them all week long. We want to antagonize them and say, I need your energy. Give me your energy. I get it. I get it. So there needs to be a middle ground between both of those.
I would argue that despite being a sample size of one grumpy mustachioed motherfucker here, this is really representative of the more mass consumption of music. Not everyone is here for deep lyrics or innovative melodies or genre-bending artists.
Bingo.
Not everyone is a musician with a more developed sense of musical appreciation and analysis and critique, and not everyone really gives that much of a shit. Most people just want to listen to some music. It's this kind of music, and I guess this sort of listening style, that ultimately leads to this endless small vibes to be heartbroken to playlists on streaming services that have become 7 layers of cliche and cringe. Artists are encouraged by labels and more indirectly by consumers to deliver more of the same, and any kind of experimentation could lead to the ultimate punishment: being put on Spotify with everybody else.
And I think that's why a lot of folks won't even take a chance on their experimental ideas, because of the fear of, what if I do it and nobody cares about it? What if I put it out and nobody listens to it? And it hurts to hear that. I hear it a lot. It hurts to hear that, because all I can think about are, did our OGs, did artists generations and generations before us even have that as a concern? Right? Did they even concern themselves with that? When you're talking about a Jimi Hendrix discovering feedback and utilizing feedback at a time where feedback was looked at as the worst thing that could be coming out the speakers, utilizing that as an instrument and finding a way to make it appeasing to an audience that would otherwise cover their ears, would he get there, of course with the assistance of some drugs, but would he get there if he didn't have the freedom to think outside the box? If he was concerned about, damn, if I don't go if I can't go too crazy on this outro with this solo on the guitar, because man, I'm not gonna get placed on Spotify. Like, can you imagine? Now, we're obviously in a different time and there's things that we have to take into consideration, but he makes a good point.
This isn't meant to be an elitist tirade against popular music on streaming services. I think it's more than evident that this industry of Spotify-friendly music exists for a reason. It works, and that's what the consumers want. That being said, and music being an industry, there is a financial incentive to focus on streaming revenue specifically, and whatever brings in streams is what's likely to float to the top. It's in the music industry's best interest to create stuff that does well on streaming services. It's in streaming services' best interest to find the music that does best with its audiences and keep them on those specific platforms. And it's in the audience's best interest to use a streaming service to sort this massive catalog of stuff into something that they're going to enjoy. And therein lies the sort of weird catch-22 of it all.
So I'm going to stop the video here, and I'm going to give you some final thoughts on that. So, DIYers, artists, music producers, independents, whatever you call yourself, this is the prime time to try some new shit. If you can detach yourself for a second from the necessity that you have put upon getting an X amount of streams, if you can detach yourself for just a project and give yourself the ultimate creative freedom to just try the things that otherwise you'd be too hesitant to do out of fear of people not wanting to listen to it. And matter of fact, when people are not listening to it, I feel like you should be more experimental. I feel like you should try more things, because nobody's there to point the finger and judge you. I feel like that should be the most enjoyable time. But so many of us as creatives make it the worst time, because we're too concerned about who's not in the room and who's not supporting what we're doing. What about you? What about you that bought this equipment? What about you that has sat with these ideas? What about you, that version of you that as soon as you start writing or as soon as you start putting a beat together, your brain just starts to travel elsewhere. And you're just letting whatever you think that exchange of energy is, you're just letting that energy happen. And it creates such amazing ideas that by the time you're done with it, you find yourself listening to what you created on loop for hours and hours on end. Maybe you're like me, maybe you're not, but I have definitely done that. Those are the great nights. Those are the nights where what's going on in the algorithms, what's going on with the streaming numbers, what's going on with the algorithm, that's when none of that shit actually matters to me. When I'm able to push myself to that level, what it does is it gives me a certain amount of skills that when I do find myself in a more structured environment, maybe via a feature, maybe when I say, you know what, I actually want to do a specific campaign to get on a playlist, I have a set of tools that separates me from everybody else because I tried something different. But a lot of folks, I feel like, are getting into music, and one of the reasons why they don't even want to try something different is partly because of their fear of not being heard or listened to by other people, but also because a lot of these folks don't really value music the way that a lot of us as DIYers value it. And for them, I don't worry about them. They're not going to be here long. AI will definitely be their biggest competitor. But for those of us that do care, try not to let these numbers kick your ass. There are other platforms like Bandcamp where you could put your catalog up there and somebody could be exposed to the experience of who you are and what your music sounds like in one straight shot. Have all your projects, all your songs, all the visuals. It looks so much more appeasing than when you search your name up on Spotify or on Apple Music and they only order it by the top streams. Right now, my Apple Music, the top streams that I have are from songs that I was featured on or that I produced on. And they're not the best representation of the music that I do today. But because the algorithms, because the streaming websites are all about pumping out what is shown statistical proof of success, they position it at the top like it's a top 8 on MySpace, like back in the day. I don't want them songs up there. I would love to restructure that, but you cannot do that with the way that it's currently set up. But with something like a Bandcamp, you can. And I feel like that's where you won't be so concerned about your ideas falling upon deaf ears. Do not let these streaming websites, don't let social media punk you. Because the truth of the matter is, this thing is so wild, wild west that whenever you find traction somewhere, regardless of how all these computer algorithms work, when you find traction somewhere and you start looking like money, you start smelling like a different kind of money, that's when the humans get from behind the computers and start reaching out to you from the Spotifys, from the distribution websites, to see how they can be more a part of what you got going on. Especially if you position yourself as somebody who can sell music. You show them that you can sell music. A stream ain't hard to get. That's 30 seconds. Stream ain't hard to get. When you can sell music, that's something different. And I'm finding that the people independently who are selling music are selling a type of music that people almost hold as a piece of art in their collection. They love the music so much that they'll stream it, but they'll buy the vinyl as a piece of artwork to hang up on the walls. This is the time to be more experimental than ever. As things are becoming more homogenous and more structured, this is the time to try some of the most grandest ideas that you have. But it is not the time, as Venus Theory lined up, this is not the time, as Venus Theory said, to be sitting around moping and be that guitar player annoying people in the bar with your Instagram at, because them folks came in there for wings and not your damn songs. Those are some of my thoughts, though. What do y'all think about that?
DIY.
Where we at? Where we at with it? Where we at with it? Talk to me. If your game is together, you can always get money from your music. That's right. Artists back then did their experimentation behind the scenes when labels still did artist development, and a finished product was great music. Is anyone being successful without Spotify? Yes. Yes. Once again, it depends on also, too. Rain Cloud, because I know we were introduced to your music yesterday, and I know you're just getting started. It's important to identify what you think success is. Because a lot of times when we're just getting started, we think success is just where we think it's where we think everybody is crowding to. We think it's the place that has the most numbers. And you may be fooled in that there are people who have millions and millions of streams who cannot sell one t-shirt for $20 because they don't have a fan base. They have a streaming farm. They have a streaming moment. They have a playlist connection. And it looks like success. It looks like a dub from the outside. But if you only identify success as millions and millions of streams, I have to change the answer that I give you. I don't identify that as success. I think that if you are an artist, especially an independent artist, if you don't have the ability to sell something physical, success is going to be an uphill journey. If you're only relying upon streaming, why do shows? Why do shows? If you're relying upon streaming, in which people spend their leisure time listening to you, why even do shows? Who are the shows for? Who are the shows for? The shows is where most artists are making the majority of their money because they're able to sell merchandise as well. But these are people who are actually brands in themselves. They don't just have a viral song. You could you could throw a penny in the air and hit somebody with a viral song on TikTok or a viral moment on TikTok. I never forget. This lady went viral on TikTok and tried to give me tips on marketing myself. And I said, "Ma'am, how long have you been marketing music?" She said, "Oh, I just been on TikTok and I just went viral for a bunch of my funny videos, but I can give you marketing tips." I said, "What you know about music marketing?" "Oh, not a whole lot, but I just think I just share you shit. I'll share your shit for you." And that's where we're at now, is that people will position themselves as professionals because the algorithm became friendly with them and they look like success instead of being actually successful. And I think a lot of people are more excited about that. So to answer your question, have people been successful without Spotify? You got to get outside. Go to Bandcamp. Go to Bandcamp. Bandcamp is a great place to start. It's a large world out here. So the world is so much larger than the confines of your Spotify. Got to get outside. You got to go to shows. You got to see. And don't just go to the shows that got thousands of people. Go to them shows that got 20 people. And see the way people are moving physical merch. See their demands on their budget and what it looks like. The people that you see with billions of streams, they need billions of streams in order to keep this shit going. You probably don't need billions of streams. You probably just want billions of streams. They need it to pay every employee that works top to bottom at that corporate building. It is a failure for you to get signed to one of these entities and get anything below 5 million streams. You're looked at as like the bottom feeder on there. So it's important not to compare yourself to folks who have different priorities than you as an independent, if you're independent. That's my 2 pieces on that. My 2 cents, I should say. I use Bandcamp and DSPs. Yeah, I don't think what's up, Maddie? It's not ever a versus thing. It's just a matter of like, when you go to Bandcamp, the one thing that makes them different from the Spotify's and the streaming websites is that they ensure that, one, the highest quality, if you care about that first, the highest quality of music, whether it's waveform or MP3, is made available to your listener, right? It's not compressed. It's not readjusted by the loofs of a streaming website. It is given to you in high res, and it is also ensuring that they have these things called Bandcamp Fridays, in which their artists, or the people who upload on there, get paid a significant amount more than any other platform is willing to give or split the share with those artists. It's made for independence. So, yeah, man, you gotta get outside. You gotta get outside. You gotta get outside. Spotify is not the only way. It's not the only way. Check out Bandcamp. Put your shit up on Bandcamp or something like it. Spotify's not even good enough, because Spotify's playing that game too. Spotify don't know if they want to be a streaming website, or if they want to still be, or if they still want to be the Spotify of old. They want to expand. They want to stay underground. They don't know what they want to do, and it's been looking like that for a long time. When you looked at the terms of how they were monetizing songs on their platform, it was atrocious, the first version of it. So, put your music everywhere if you don't have a dog in that fight. But definitely check out Bandcamp. Just get it up there, because they do they're actually an active community within a Bandcamp. The same way you talk about a BeatStars, they're an active community. That's the benefit of being a part of it. Spotify, what is the community on Spotify? It's too broad to be considered a community. Bandcamp has these communities within it which you can nurture. So, in the age of DIYers, you can experiment and get feedback from real people on podcasts like this in real time to get a sense of how people feel about your music. Not need for ChatGPT AI judges. It's so crazy seeing some of those feedback from those. It's crazy. Like, the feedback looked like it was made by ChatGPT. All right, so speaking of some DIYer stuff, I want to get into this next thing that I don't know if you ever heard of this concept of a zip. Now, this may sound stupid at first, but I want you to give it a chance, because I think this is another way that we as independent artists and producers can monetize what we do as independents. This artist that I'm going to expose you to, if you've never heard of him before, is an independent artist who was inspired by another independent artist to do something called a zip. Now, we know zip files as being, of course, let me not even explain it. Let's just get into it. This thing is really interesting, because us as independents, we have to diversify as much as possible. We have to figure out other means in order for us to generate income, especially if we're not heavily relying upon the algorithms and the politics of streaming. We have to figure out other ways to generate income. This idea I thought was really, really interesting, though, and I want to share it with you. So, that being said, pop my logo back up here. There we go. All right, let's get to it.
DIY.
Shout out to the Instagram algorithm. They suggested an artist that I have never heard before give somewhat of a breakdown of a product that he's pushing that it's a pretty fire idea, especially for those of us that are looking for other means to monetize our music and even give a more exclusive experience to those who actually support what we have going on. And when you see the price point, it may actually be something that you really want to look into, especially before these major labels start to take the idea, because you know they're always late. But shout out to the Loner Jev. He's going to break this down for you about what this is. It's called a zip. Not the traditional zip that we've all heard of. I mean, it is kind of the traditional. It's not just a zip file. What's being offered is an experience, and it's being categorized under the term zip. Let me let him explain it.
Purchase CDs? Probably not if you use streaming service. Do you still purchase CDs? Probably not if you use streaming services. But what if I told you there's another way to support your favorite independent artist? So there's an artist by the name of Zay Lewis that came up with the idea of zips. And basically what zips are, I call them digital CDs. Basically what the zips contain are acapellas, behind the scenes footage, instrumentals, different takes, different vocal takes, and all the other stuff. Basically, a digital CD. So what I did was I came up with my own zip, the Loner zip, and basically what I've been doing is that every song I drop has a zip attached to it. So I just released a song called Loner World Freestyle, and I did a behind the scenes footage, clean acapellas, dirty acapellas, alternative cover arts, different vocal takes, engineer's cut, bonus behind the scene clips, digital copy of handwritten lyrics, and alternative music videos. So basically, if you're a fan of me, fan of my art, fan of my music, make sure you go check it out. It's around $8. So if you got it, purchase. For sure, for sure.
All right, let's go to his website. So what he basically said is that he is offering a zip file that includes a few different things that are absolutely valuable if you are a fan of what he does. I think he changed it. He had his website up here. I had it. Let me look him up. I'm just look him back up again. Such a great idea. I don't know why you don't have your website up there first. There we go. All right, here's the website for the Loner Jev. He's selling the usual merchandise, right? Hoodies, t-shirts. Make sure I reposition this. Tote bags, stickers. And then when you navigate down here, you see this thing here called the Loner World Zip. And for $10, this is what you get. A clean acapella of this particular song, a dirty acapella, alternative cover art, different vocal takes, engineer's cut, bonus behind the scenes clips, digital copy of the handwritten lyrics, alternative music videos. So he's basically giving someone who would be probably a very super fan of what he's doing an opportunity to experience his music in a way they wouldn't be able to if they just streamed it. And he's only charging $10, or is it 10? It's not 10. Is that 10? Is it Canadian dollars? What's Canadian? Let's see what's Canadian to USD. What's that? So I guess it is closer to $7. Okay. Let's just say for $10. I think it's such a great idea with a lot of potential. But I think what might stop some artists from even trying something like this is they feel like this is only for people who are super fans of them. And they're like, I don't even got enough fans to even do this. I think that you have to be the first one to create a fan experience that is worthy of someone becoming a fan of. This right here, even if I sort of liked the song that you did, this might make me a fan of you as an artist anytime you do interviews, because maybe I want to know more about how you came with this idea. This idea alone makes me want to go ahead and purchase it and see. Matter of fact, let's go ahead and do that. Let me do that real quick. I'm gonna purchase this, and I'm gonna see what it looks like on the other end in real time. Let's go ahead and purchase this. I want to make sure I support any DIYer out here that is doing the amazing work that they're doing. I want to make sure I support any DIYer out here that comes up with innovative ideas like this. So I'm going to go ahead and sign myself in. Let me get my phone. Got a text message right now. Cool. I'm going to buy this, and I want you guys to see what this looks like. There we go. Give me the PayPal real quick. Because I'm very curious about what that looks like on the inside of it. But isn't that such a brilliant idea to give more than just the music, to give things that you could only get from the source? And I feel like that's low-key where we're heading. I feel like that's low-key where we're heading, or where we've been heading, is giving more than has been expected. Giving an opportunity for folks to get deeper into the songs they fall in love with. All right, my download is preparing. I'm gonna grab this. 4.32 gigabytes. I love it already. All right, so while that's, go ahead and do that. Let me let that download. Yeah, let's go back to the video real quick. I want to break this down into pieces.
Peace. Do you still purchase CDs? Probably not if you use streaming services, but what if I told you there's another way to support your favorite independent artist? So there's an artist by the name of Zay Lewis that came up with the idea of zips. And basically what zips are, I call them digital CDs. Basically what the zips contain are acapellas, behind the scenes footage, instrumentals, different takes, different vocal takes, and all that other stuff. Basically,
you know what's interesting about the idea of packaging everything together in a very convenient format? This to me sounds like CDs plus DVDs that used to be the behind the scenes. You know who was really good about that? 50 Cent. 50 Cent really established a new standard when he was giving these really interactive experiences. When you got his album, you got a whole DVD that showed the behind the scenes. It showed you back where his neighborhood was at, where his grandma's house was at. It showed you some unreleased footage of some of the studio sessions that you probably fell in love with the songs. It's taking all of those mediums that we're no longer actively or aggressively pursuing. I haven't bought a DVD in a long time. Haven't bought a CD. Yes, I have. I bought a CD from an artist. But in general, we're not aggressively pursuing that. What that does is it takes it and it shrinks it down in the same way that the technology of phones has. The technology of phones used to be a big ass brick. And they started getting tinier and tinier and more convenient. I feel like that's also what's happening to the technology of music. Not these CDs anymore. Not these DVDs that I have to go blow off the dust off my DVD player in order to play. Now I can download. I'm literally talking to you guys right now, and it says it's I'll give it some time. It's downloading right now. I'm going to get the experience of these acapellas. I'm going to get the experience of his handwritten lyrics. As I think about this I think would be even more valuable if he made it exclusive to the point where he's only going to sell 20 of these. It's almost like NFTs. I don't want to get deep into that because I got my own issues with it. But I think this is something that combines our necessity to have something physical with something digital. Because you could take these zips and literally, instead of bringing a whole setup for your merchandise, you could literally have thumb drives on your merch table at a show, at a beach showcase, at a show, and just literally lay it out. This is the Curtis King experience on a thumb drive. When you get home, enjoy that. Before you watch Netflix, take a listen to that.
A digital CD. So what I did was I came up with my own zip, the Loner zip, and basically what I've been doing is that every song I drop has a zip attached to it. So I just released a song called Loner World Freestyle, and I did a behind the scenes footage, clean acapellas, dirty acapellas, alternative cover arts, different vocal takes, engineer's cut, bonus behind.
What I like about that alternative cover art is that it allows when you make like 5 different versions of your artwork and you can't choose which one, it allows all that indecisiveness to be a part of something. And you can now monetize your indecisiveness. What a time to be a damn DIY.
The scene clips, digital copy of handwritten lyrics, and alternative music videos. So basically, if you're a fan of me, fan of my art, fan of my music, make sure you go check it out. It's around $8. So if you got it, purchase. For sure. Peace.
All right, I'm going to give it time. I may have to go ahead and put that as an insert, but let me explain why I think ideas like this will become more abundant. This is what I mean when I say, DIYers, we have more freedom than we ever had before. We now can launch on these ideas and have an audience, our exclusive audience, look at that and gauge their own value for something like that. I can see an artist like LaRussell doing something like this and making it a pay what you want campaign for it. If you imagine you found a song from an artist that you had never heard of and you absolutely loved everything about it. You love their voice, you love the production, you love the way that they rapped, you love their production, and imagine you are also an artist or also a producer and you just love the song. Can you imagine how valuable it would be for you to download a zip that gave you not only the stems of the song, not only the acapella, but a behind the scenes of how the session came together? How you ever listen to a rapper and try to imagine like what they look like when they were delivering certain lyrics? Like I listen to Waka Flocka Flame and I'm like, I wonder how far away from the mic he is. Well, I can now see that thanks to 2023 in the form of a zip. I don't have to wait for his behind the scenes footage to drop. I can now get this and have that experience. Also, you ever love an album so much that you wanted to own multiple versions of it? That was me for Speaker Box and The Love Below from Outkast. I loved it so much. I wanted a version I listened to, and I wanted a version that was in plastic still. Because with that, I could like hold that as like the physical art that I can still keep attached to. I feel like that's what we're offering now. That's the opportunity we have. And when you do it early like this, even without a fan base, you give yourself an opportunity to gain a fan base of the idea. I start to think about Nipsey Hussle, and I think about how many people were made aware of who he was after he decided to put out an album for $100, and how many people were then interested in hearing what the music sounded like because of such an innovative idea. DIYers, our time is now. I'm trying to buy as much time as I can, but I might have to do this in the the good old questions afterwards. But shout out to the Loner Jev, and shout out to, who was the other artist? Let's see if I can get the name again.
Do you still purchase CDs? Probably not if you use streaming services. But what if I told you there's another way to support your favorite independent artist?
What's the guy's name?
So there's an artist by the name of Zay Lewis that...
So shout out to Zay Lewis. I didn't see Zay Lewis. I'm going to probably go ahead and check his out a little bit later. Yeah, it says there's 3 minutes left on this one. We're not going to buy that much time. So, interesting idea. I think that there's ways to absolutely customize it to whatever you think may be valuable. Maybe you don't handwrite lyrics. Maybe you screenshot the lyrics you wrote inside your iPhone. Maybe you separate the ad-libs into your song into individual one-shots, and you make it so where producers can now use your ad-libs as a part of their production. Like, I think about this, and it's almost like, damn, bro, it's almost like a chop shop. It's almost like when he's playing Grand Theft Auto, you could take a car into the chop shop and they break it all down and you start making your money off of it. I kind of feel like that's the opportunity we're giving, in that it's not that we're dicing down and trying to squeeze every dollar out of the music. I mean, that's not the main focus. But it's now that we see value in more than just the music. I mean, it's an amazing time. Those are my thoughts, though. What do you guys think?
DIY.
All right, and so as you guys are giving me your feedback, I think the download is almost done. So wasn't able to get it down for the video, but maybe I could just have it there and put like a little B-roll shot of what it looks like. But it says it's like 1 minute left. I want to see what this looks like. Joshua Polk said the conversations in the studio and before the studio be the most intriguing parts. People love watching the process. Write that down, Joshua. Write that down. That to me right there, I want that. If Joshua, that's a bar. That's a bar, Joshua. Come on now. See what one idea does? You see what one idea does? One idea spikes alterations to the idea that it moves the entire DIY movement forward. Write that down, Joshua. The conversations in the studio be the most intriguing parts. People love watching the process. Now, if I fall in love with a song and I listen to this song 100 times, Lambo, you said this earlier. Okay, well then you write it down too. Shit. Y'all both write it down. Y'all write it down and y'all compare notes. How about that? But yeah, imagine, like, prime example. I love the Love Below album by Andre 3000 so much. I don't think I've ever bought that much Outkast documentaries, books in that period of time because of how influential it was on me. Outkast has always been influential, but something about that album was so different at the time and so sonically different from everything else. I needed to know more. As an artist, as a producer, I needed to know more. And so I got every DVD I can get my hand on. Now, if they came up with a zip, fam, I may get the zip before I get the album. Imagine having Andre 3000 acapellas, dirty and clean. Imagine the remixes I could make with that. Imagine having handwritten lyrics by 3 Stacks. That's my favorite rapper. Imagine having handwritten lyrics, a digital copy. I got a book right now that shout out to my homie Tone. He bought me this book because he knows I'm a big Tupac fan, but it's this, like, man, I wish he was right here. I'm not gonna go get it. But it's this Tupac book where when you open it up, like, it looks like you're looking at a handwritten letter from Tupac. And the first time I ever opened it up, fam, it gave me goosebumps because I thought it was an original. My dumb ass. I thought it was an original. And I'm like, this is, oh my gosh, is this an... But that kind of experience, oh man. To me, that makes it to where the question that you have about why would anybody care about this shit from me, I don't even got no fans. This might make a fan. The care that you go into the packaging of your music may make somebody say, damn, my favorite artists don't even do this. You got me. I'm going to support that. And I think also it comes from the idea that we think that everybody who buys things from us are fans. Sometimes people are fans of an idea. Sometimes people are fans of just what merchandise looks like. They don't necessarily rock with your movement. They just like your damn t-shirt. Look, when that money come through, I'm not sitting there passing judgment. Nah, fam, you can't buy no DIY shirt. How DIY are you? Imagine my head ass talking about, imagine me talking about that. If I got to give you a sandwich in order to get you to buy my album, does my album have any value? What you mean? What you mean? I don't think if you're implying that this is to entice people to want to listen to your music, I don't think that's what the function of it is, Niles. I think the function of this is to satisfy the palates of people who are already tapped in, to further satisfy. This is for your super fan. This is not for somebody who's just a Joe Schmo. They may buy it because it's a fire idea. This is not for them. This is somebody who's like, bro, I rock with you. Bro, your shit is, you one of the greatest from our area. This is for them. This ain't buying those. I think that if you look at somebody's handwritten lyrics or a copy of it as being a sandwich, if you look at it as a sandwich, Niles, then it's not for you. But if you think about your favorite artists in the whole wide world, if you had an opportunity, if you had an opportunity to buy a sandwich off of them that they ate before they made your favorite song, you might be interested. Niles, you might be interested. Put it in a glass case, watch it mold. Maybe not, but you get where I'm getting at. Okay, the file downloaded. Let's see what this looks like. I want to break this down for you. Let's see what this looks like. Maybe I can use this clip. All right, let's see. So, this is Loner World. I want to extract it to my own. I'm going to show it on the desktop right now. Don't mind me. Don't mind me. Don't mind me. Will it show? Let me see. Let's see. Let's see. I think it'll pop up. All right, hold on. Let me see. Let me get this. It's a huge file. I will say that's probably the only drawback that some people may have with it. But the idea is too fire to let that stop me, especially if I'm a fan of what I hear. Okay, close that. Let me get this loner thing going. Hold on, loner. Oh, come on, fam. What are we doing? My computer's running dummy slow. It's not used to me downloading stuff while I'm on here. All right. There we go. Open that up. Open this up. All right, so here, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen now. All right, cool. So, move this out the way. Make sure y'all can see what I see. You can't see what I see. Yup. All right, you see what I see. Cool. All right, so here's what what's my guy's name? I'm sorry. The Loner Jev. This is what his folder looks like. This is the actual zip file. And this is what it is. All right, so when you have an idea that he said that he got from someone else that is still very early, it's going to have its own things that can be improved upon it, right? Same way I'm sure the first sound pack that came along probably wasn't as organized as sound packs can be these days. But let's break this down. Let me see. Let's change the viewpoint of this. I want to see what this looks like. Why are you moving so slow? It's got to be. Okay, so this is the alternative artwork. Okay, I don't think that's him. I think that's OBS right now. Trying to figure out everything with Windows. I'm processing too much. We got an alternative music video. Behind the scenes, we got the handwritten lyrics. Yo, fam, what are you doing? Computer is moving dummy slow today. We don't ever do this. Oh, because I'm recording too. All right, so this is basically what it looks like. What are you doing? That is annoying. Man's gave me a virus. I'm just playing. I may have to open it. There we go. Let's see. Look at you. You even got the damn stains on there too. That's fire. That's fire. If I'm a fan of this song, I can see where you cut stuff out. That's dope. Like this to me feels real. It doesn't feel like something that Midjourney can make for me. This feels real. And I think we're going to fiend for that more and more as things become unreal. Alternative cover. Okay. Fire. Music video. This is the epitome of DIY. You got vocal takes. Different vocal takes. You got clean acapella, different vocal take. That's dope. I think the only thing that I do a few things to improve on this one. I would separate these into subfolders so that it's just not a collision of different files. I'd put these takes in different folders. I would also establish if these are verse takes or if these are chorus takes. For the titles, I know that's an artsy thing, but for the titles, I would definitely change it to have your name because files can get moved all the time. I'd put your name in there. I would still put the metadata that's necessary for categorizing it so it doesn't get lost in a shuffle of other things if I move these stuff out of here. What else? Engineer's cut. Okay, so it's a different version of the song, I'm assuming. Yeah, I think it's a fire idea. Handwritten lyrics too, so the second verse. It's such a dope idea. I definitely feel like the more that we adjust to the things that we look at as headaches, to the things that we look at as changing the way music is presented and promoted forever, the more that we start to fuel innovation in other people. The stains on the corner of the page. Hey, it's so real that I can see somebody fake as hell doing this same thing and adding like fake stains. You know when the wrong people get a hold of a great idea? My dog, I know you know what I'm talking about. When the wrong people see an idea like this and they're like, bro, I almost put my zip together. You know what it's missing though? It needs some coffee stains. Let's go to Coffee Bean and let's put stains on it. And they use a paintbrush. And then they make a TikTok. This is how I add authentic stains to my zip folder handwritten lyrics. Follow me, guys. Them people kill everything. They kill everything. Jeez, they kill everything. They kill everything. Damn content creators. As I'm creating content. Y'all know the people I'm talking about. You know the people I'm talking about. Don't make me feel crazy for saying that shit. Just add a dash of coffee on the side of the notebook and you've got real hip hop in no time. Smash that like button. I don't know. How do you guys do it? Head ass. How does imaginary scenario already got me mad? Head ass. I don't know. That's the way I do it. How do you guys do it? Leave a comment down below. Head ass. I already see it and it's pissing me off. I'm going to stop talking about it. This shit pissing me off. So, hey guys, I came up with this brilliant idea called a zip. Not that kind of zip. I made it completely myself. It's a zip. I definitely didn't hear this on any video. Head ass. They coming. That's why there's less creative people than there are creative people on this earth. You know they coming. They gonna make an off-white stain and write caramel macchiato next to it. That's sickening. That's sick. Joshua, I can't read that. That's gonna hurt my heart. That's gonna hurt me. How to make an authentic zip folder. Ugh! Why did that make my skin crawl? Them ain't DIYers. Them Y-ideers. Why I oughta steal that idea. Those are Y-ideers. This is not DIYers. Those are Y-ideers. Why I oughta steal that damn idea, head ass. Ugh, that pisses me. I don't know why I'm getting angry. I'm just my blood is boiling for no reason. All right. Templates and all is crazy. That's nasty work. OnlyFans creators marketing about to get mad discussing. Look, this is I just see what you meant, Niles. I'm gonna shut up. Why ideas? Why I oughta steal that damn idea, you damn hippie hoppity guy. All right, I'm done. Let's get to the next story. Last story of the day. If you've been enjoying this so far, make sure you hit the like button. I appreciate you so much for tapping in. If this is your first time here, we greatly appreciate you. These will be all dropping in clips. So if you came for the original story, that will be dropped in a clip. You can always go back to it. But let's get to this last story that I thought was really intriguing, especially for those of you that struggle with your mixes and you're aiming for perfection and what you've been taught as the only way to mix a record. And I always love hearing about these anomalies, these exceptions to the rule. And this one, it's not a hip hop artist. It's actually John Mayer. I want to share this story with you because I think that as DIYers, we could find a lot of inspiration in it. So, here we go.
DIY.
Okay, so on Instagram, I saw another clip that popped up on the algorithm that was suggested to me, and it was here courtesy of someone that goes by Mix.Collective. I believe he is an engineer, and he's telling a story about an engineer that has worked with John Mayer and just the elites. I mean, he even has his own plugins on Waves, a legendary engineer in Manny, and he breaks down how a mistake ended up becoming a better decision than what his mixing teaching, his traditional mixing teaching would have suggested. Let's let Mix Collective talk about this.
So I heard Manny Marroquin talking about a record that he mixed. By the way, stick around to the end. You're going to want to hear which record this actually was. So the record sounded great. The mix is done. The artist loves it. And he asks one question. Hey, Manny, sounds great. What kind of effects are on my vocal? Manny takes a look at the session and realizes, wait a second, your vocal is dry. And of course, no artist wants to hear the word dry, anything to do with their vocal. So Manny ends up being asked to put reverb on the vocal. So later on down the line, the producer hears the record and Manny gets a call back from the artist. And the artist says, you know what? The producer listened to it and it just doesn't feel like the same record. I think you were right the first time to not add the reverb. So the final mix ended up with a vocal that was completely dry. I guess the lesson here is it doesn't really matter how you get there. What matters is the emotional intent of the song there. Have you enhanced it with the things you've done in the mix? So if you got the mix to a great place, don't worry about adding something that you normally add. It doesn't need it. Also, maybe don't use the word dry around artists. You're wondering, the song is Gravity by John Mayer, one of his most iconic songs ever, and possibly one of Manny's most iconic mixes ever, too. How about that? So listen to that.
One more time.
So I heard Manny Marroquin talking about a record that he mixed. By the way, stick around to the end.
Manny Marroquin has worked with Lizzo, Kendrick Lamar, and obviously John Mayer and the who's who within the industry. So to hear someone as legendary as Manny Marroquin making a mistake like that, or maybe it was just something that was a part of his usual order that he didn't do, but for him to not add anything on the vocal because the vocal is dry in a session, he probably was thinking like, oh, damn it. How the hell did I forget that? I am Manny. What the hell is going on? But let me play this one more time and let's react to some of these portions.
You're going to want to hear which record this actually was. So the record sounded great. The mix is done. The artist loves it.
The record is done. This ain't even the beginning. So take back that original fake story I made. The mixing is done. They think this song is finished. This one, folks, get out the booth and they sit in the chair and they sitting around, whoever they brought, like, man, that's a good session, man. This is sounding really good, Manny. And Manny's like, oh, hold your horses.
And he asks one question. Hey, Manny, sounds great. What kind of effects are on my vocal? Manny takes a...
John Mayer sitting back, I imagine, feeling good. Like, damn, this song is about to go crazy. Ended up being one of his biggest songs of his career. And he says, hey, what's on that vocal chain? What you over there mixing with? And Manny's like,
look at the session and realizes, wait a second, your vocal is dry.
It's dry. Sahara Desert dry. No lotion on your legs at a barbecue dry. Bag of corn nuts and no beverage dry. Popeye's biscuit dry. That man didn't add nothing. That might be a testament to how great the equipment is, or a combination of that and the singing, or whatever it is, but it must be the leveling. The gain staging must be just immaculate.
And of course, no artist wants to hear the word dry, anything to do with their vocal. So Manny ends up being asked to put reverb on the vocal.
That is so true. Artists, this is from the perspective of an engineer, but I've seen it from the perspective as a producer and as an artist myself, in that I don't want, you ever be listening, you never want to hear back a song that you just recorded and it just sounds so incomplete. Your voice sounds so small. It sounds boxy. It's like, the engineers I've worked with, the best ones are the ones who are like, they'll tell me beforehand, hey, don't start judging this yet. It's not mixed. Don't start judging this yet. Or the ones like the homie Yo Gosh who will mix it in real time, or at least put the vocal chain on it and not print it to the vocals, but they'll give me an idea. Oh, this is what it sounded like. Okay, cool. This gives me some creative motivation to continue it. So him saying that, I'm sure, had him a little bit perturbed.
So later on down the line, the producer hears the record and Manny gets a call back from the artist. And the artist says, you know what? The producer listened to it and it just doesn't feel like the same record.
So John Mayer sat back up and was like, you know, Manny, I never tell you how to do your job, but go ahead and put that reverb on there, and let's not go dry. That's That's the ultimate no-no. We can't do that. We can't push a song out. We can't possibly push a song out with a dry vocal for mainstream success, for mass consumption. That's not the industry standard. How dare we even think we could do something like that? So Manny adds the reverb, adds, I'm sure, some other things to that chain, and then they send it over to the producer of the record who actually produced it, and the producer's like, nah, I ain't gonna hold you. I like the dry version more. It's not even the same record with the polish that you add to it, Manny. And it's not like Manny's not gonna add the best of the best to those vocals, but the producer said it's just not the same record. So shout out to him for actually being able to like get outside of how it would look to the general public and saying, you know what, I think based upon emotion, based upon how I feel about the record, this is a better choice. Shout out to him as well.
I think you were right the first time to not add the reverb. So the final mix ended up with a vocal that was completely dry. I guess the lesson here is it doesn't really matter how you get there. What matters is the emotional intent of the song there. Have you enhanced it with the things you've done in the mix? So if
that right there is important. Some of the worst engineers that I've worked with are the ones who follow their own rules regardless of the new variables that are presented to them. I have a different vocal tone. My voice tends to, when I'm rapping, I tend to be up in the mid to the high. Stop mixing my voice. Look, I got a rap voice like I-20 from old school Ludacris records. Don't do that to my voice. Don't mix my voice like you would mix Busta Rhymes. Listen to my voice. Don't just do subtractive EQing for all the sounds that... Don't do subtractive EQing on my voice the same way you do to every single voice. We're not going to peak at the same areas. We don't have the same problematic areas in every vocal tone the same. It's not the same. And I think a lot of engineers and really just creatives in general get so stuck in their usual way of doing things that they just look at it as like, this is efficient and there's literally no other way to do this. And I think it's necessary to get out of your comfort zone on that.
you got the mix to a great place, don't worry about adding something that you normally add. It doesn't need it. Also, maybe don't use the word dry around artists.
Yeah, don't use the word dry around artists. And then I like the caption that he said in Mix Collective. He said, it's a reminder that our job as mixers is to do exactly what the song needs. Amen. Let the song guide you and don't feel the need to add things you normally do if the song doesn't need it. Our job is to bring the artist's vision to life and bring out the emotion in the song. You should always be thinking emotionally when mixing. If only more engineers thought like our friend Mix.Collective. We talked about earlier the movement we're going to start to get these suits out the booth. But I feel like it ain't just the suits. Sometimes it's the nerds that don't want to be heard. Excuse me. It's the nerds that want to be heard, but they just don't want you to be heard. Get them nerds out the studio too. Like, get the scientists out of this creative process. Get the scientists away from the artists. Sometimes there are engineers, a lot of times there are engineers who are so scientific about their approach that they will not buckle. They will not leave the smallest hole for creativity to find its way through. They won't leave any chance for something that makes them jump out of their comfort zone exists. And that's unfortunate because also that makes music sound a different way. When people are so anal about technical details and they're not taking into consideration how those records are making the listener feel. If they're not able to take off their engineer hat and sit back and be a listener, that's a problem for me. I don't know how it is for you. Maybe you want that. That's a problem for me. Let's both take off our artist hat, our engineer hat. Let's sit back and see, have we gone too far? Did we already cross the finish line on this one? Are we now just adding things for the sake of our musical egos? Are we now trying to go and gain clarity from a record that is more valuable by how muffled it is, by how lo-fi it is, by how dingy the drums are? Are we now trying to clean up Madlib's drums for clarity's sake and sacrificing the culture in it in the process? These are questions I need any engineer that I work with to think about. Not those exact ones, but I need you to be able to zoom out, because I do that as a producer all the time. There are sessions where I'm like, this session as a producer was great for my soul. But the next day when I listen to this song, it ain't great for my ears. It's loud. It's loud. It's ridiculous in terms of its formatting. But I'm now able to zoom out, listen to it, and say, this is how I could potentially make it more digestible for me and a whole lot more closer to the goal that I was trying to achieve in that session. And then I make those decisions based upon how I'm pivoting. But the moment that I am so married to my system that I don't allow mistakes to reroute me somewhere and still have the faith that it's going to lead me somewhere that is ultimately best for the art, I think that's the day I need to quit. I need to forever have that childlike creativity. I need to forever have that, even if it's a smaller fraction of the pie, I need to have that voice, even if it's a tiny voice, say, I don't know where this is going, but I'm curious enough to keep going. I feel like that produces some of the greatest ideas. But a lot of times we don't even get a chance to even get there because some people are so married to their process, so married to their structure, so married to what looks good and what sounds good on paper that they stop doing what everybody who doesn't have the same knowledge as you do. Take the music at face value and say for themselves, how does this make me feel? Those are my thoughts, though. What do you think? Because that's crazy. That's literally one of John Mayer's biggest songs with that dry-ass vocal. That's crazy.
DIY.
Crazy, 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 crazy. Joshua Polk said, Lenny Williams, You Know Why I Love You is so sonically incorrect in so many sections. It's virtually perfect and emotional to the listener. It voids all mixing law. Man, like, yes, we need those moments, though. We need those. Why are we aiming for perfection? Producers, artists, why are we aiming for perfection? You keep doing the same thing, hoping for different results. Ain't that called insanity? Yet we sit down trying to make the perfect beat, and you know damn well you ain't finna make the perfect beat. What are you doing? What are you doing? I'm trying to get as close to perfection as possible. Perfection is a woman that ain't never gonna let you have none. She ain't never gonna let you get a taste. That's the OnlyFans you could never subscribe to. She out your league. She ain't got no OnlyFans. She don't do that. Perfection ain't got no time for you or me. Stop pursuing her. But she looks so good. Let her go. She ain't for you. She's looking for Mr. Perfect. I know I'm joking a lot, but you gonna stress yourself out. You gonna grow more gray hairs than me pursuing that damn perfection. This new age of trap is more reminiscent of Gucci's dirty sound as opposed to T.I.'s polished one. Interesting, Just Chucks. I like that. Being in the moment as an engineer, working working on rough mixes gives a different and unmatched feeling that often cannot be beat. Some of my best work was made in less time. Make it make sense. Wilshire by Tyler the Creator, it has such a candid feel because the lack of mixing, and it adds up so much to the experience as the listener, since it sounds like he just picked up a mic and started talking. Eric Lewis talks, you're speaking facts. That's how I feel about Tyler the Creator's VCR. I just want to... Like, I need that to be unmixed for it to be as, like, off-putting, as raw, as left field as it was. Because instead of making me listen to that and saying, damn, this song bangs, it made me say, man, these kids is crazy and they mixing their own shit. Like, this is so dope. It builds culture around a song. It builds life around a song. It gives life to a song. Some engineers mix a record so damn well. They clean it up so damn well, they even clean the soul out of it. Congratulations, engineer. You're so great at your job. You cleaned everything. You like the dude Mike from Breaking Bad. Whenever somebody got killed, they called this dude Mike. Mike came in, he cleaned up the crime scene. It was like nobody got killed. That's you as an engineer. You clean up the crime scene so good, it make it look like it was never an artist involved. Good job. You did that. You did that shit. You did that. You did that. You a regular old killer cleaner. That's crazy. Leave a little blood on the scene. Come on. Leave a little blood on the scene. Leave a little blood on the scene. What are we talking about, Curtis? I said it. All right. That one went kind of fast. Are y'all down for one more? Only if you're down for one more. If I'm getting too long-winded, let me know. I got another one from Southside and Pharrell, who are talking on a subject that I'm really passionate about. If you want one more, we'll do one more story and we'll get up out of here. But either way, I appreciate you. Chris AK, I'm with it. Lambo, said let's get it. Y'all with it? Eric Lewis, let's get it. One more story, we up out of here. Thank you so much. I appreciate y'all. All right, let's get it. One more story, we up out of here. Hell of a time. I want to see this last statement from, if your live performance cannot sound close to the studio version, you probably messed up the song. Damn. That's something to think on, Joshua. That's something to think on. Because a lot of live performances, don't be sounding like the song no more. It's like, what song is this? All right, we got one more here from Southside and Pharrell. It's a reaction video to that one, so let's go ahead and jump into that.
DIY.
All right, so I got a slide here from Southside and Pharrell, and they're both talking about the necessity of not occupying your mind too much with just the bottom line, especially when it comes to your music and your craft and improving at your craft. Sometimes that money focus, most times that money focus can dramatically shift how the music sounds and therefore change the way therefore even change the opportunities you're trying to monetize. But let's hear from them.
One jewel, just don't worry about the money. Just worry about your craft and try to do as much music as possible. It'll turn into everything. It'll turn into your whole life. It's just that, like, worry about the art of it. Like, don't worry about the money. If you worry about the money, you're never gonna get it. Old head taught me that. Stop worrying about the money. That shit just drop in your lap. I swear to God, that's what it does. If you don't worry about that shit and just worry about doing as much records as possible, just working with everybody. That's how I train all my boys. You feel me? Like, everybody just, I tell them niggas this too. I tell them niggas, like, look, if I tell them it's a competition. And I tell them, like, if everybody go for the number one spot, we're gonna fill up 1, 2, and 3. We fill up 1, 2, and 3, we run the game. Producer side-wise, you feel me? That's your craft. I can't tell you what you want to charge. Like, in this levels, it's like you gonna go through niggas saying they only got 500 for you. Like, labels used to tell us we got 1,500 for you. I just really go without instead of bending. I would go without and just be like, fuck it, I'm gonna go try to get me some money somewhere else.
When you hear stuff like this, it's usually met with skepticism because everybody's looking for the secret sauce, and they don't think that something as simplistic as this could be categorized as secret sauce. There's literally something called the law of detachment, and you've seen it happen in your life, whether or not you've made money or whether or not you're a millionaire. You ever be looking for your keys around the house, and it's the first thing on your mind. That's the only thing on your mind because you got to go. Maybe you're late for something. You're looking all around the house. You look under the couch. You look under the pillows. You look everywhere they could possibly be. You even looking in places that you're like, I know damn well my dumb ass ain't put these keys in the freezer. But you look in the freezer anyways. You look in the freezer and you still don't find them. You don't find them damn keys until you sit your ass down and you stop caring about it. Or you just say, I give up. And then something weird happens. Doesn't always happen, but something weird happens in that you sit back, detached from the necessity or the need at that moment to find the keys, and you look out the corner of your eye, and you see that damn lanyard hanging off the side of the window or whatever it's at, and you're like, there go my damn keys right there. And you go pick it up and you go about your business. In much the same way, I have also experienced that's when my money opportunities came to me as a producer. When I made decisions about what to give my time to. When I made better quality decisions about what to give my time to, and not just about the bottom line, just about the money, I found myself in less desperate situations. I found myself focusing on things that I'm now focused on that I'm more secure financially. When I was broke, when I was a broke boy, and I was out here worried about, man, I care about this craft. I love this craft, but man, I really got to get some paper. I made some of the dumbest decisions in my entire career. I said yes to people that my instinct told me I shouldn't be saying yes to them. They're not good for me. I took on opportunities where it was artists that I knew damn well I didn't want to work with. I'm not proud to say this, but it's artists I didn't want to work with. I didn't believe in anything they had going on, but I accepted their money because I needed the money. And although I don't believe in having regrets, I don't regret it because I feel like those are all things that contributed to the bottom line. And I do appreciate those artists because they did put the money forward. Anytime I made those decisions, that money would be gone so damn fast. And so when I'm listening to Southside and I see a comment like this from one of the commenters in here, I don't know if you guys can see this right here. Let me go ahead and put this over here. Well, these individuals have the money. That's why they saying this BS. The reason it's called music business is because of the money. I think they're not taking into consideration who they had to become in order to attract the kind of circumstances that they would eventually get into. When you look like desperation, when you look like you do anything for a dollar, you attract people who are desperate to take advantage of you. And your antennas are down because you don't care about the same things you would care about if you were secure in your place. You're just looking for the next dollar, no matter who it comes from. Think about the quality of people that attracts. So, although I don't agree with everything that Southside is saying, I think some of it is like, once again, it's that thing that famous producers and famous artists do. They be saying shit that sound good on a beat. It don't really apply broadly to life, but there's still some gems in here that I think are worth pulling from. So shout out to him. Next slide.
I say being original is really important in this game, man.
So Pharrell is talking about how creativity should be the lead focus and then the money will come. And I keep looking at these comments on the side and I'm recognizing, ain't it funny how people think that they're specialists on this topic and they ain't made no damn money yet? That's a side note. Don't mind me.
Like I said, that's why nobody can't fuck with Timberland. Nobody can't fuck with Kanye. Nobody can't fuck with Jay Dilla. Jay Dilla is like one of the illest niggas to me. Because he don't give a fuck. He's not afraid. It's not about a dollar. It's about the creativity. The money will come. That's what you have to remember. So, as Chad said before, don't be afraid when you are inspired or touched by some sort of music to go in and investigate and realize what really hurt you about it. Because that might be your sound speaking to you, and you don't even know it.
I feel like that's a message that absolutely relates to the period we're in right now. This drives home what I was saying earlier about the necessity to try new things right now. I agree with what Pharrell is saying in that if you lead with creativity, if you lead with creative ideas, it opens you up to networking opportunities. It changes the glow around what people see when they see you. When people know that you're somebody that has an abundant amount of creative ideas, you attract creatives. You also attract people with money who are willing to pay for your creativity because they ain't got it. A lot of the folks who lead with money first, I feel like money doesn't make you creative enough. I think, let me rephrase that. I think that money can only make you creative enough to get some of it. I don't think money has the power ultimately to push you to the highest levels of your creativity. I think it's a different energy that takes over when you are trying to develop upon the art that is sitting in front of you. When it doesn't need to be incentivized, when it doesn't need to pay rent. And not to say that there hasn't been some amazing art that has been created because of that. I think I think it's a spectrum, right? I think everybody's at a different place, but the most creative artists that we listen to when they speak about these things, like a Pharrell or producer, they speak about these things, you can tell that if it was about the money, they would have quit a long time ago. They're driven by something completely invested within the art. They're chasing something worthwhile, something worth more than money. And I feel like even though this is a throwback video, I feel like it still applies today even more because one of the most valuable skills you can have in this age of AI is creativity. Who are the people who are struggling with prompts? People who like creativity. Who are the people who can't quite make Midjourney look good in terms of photos? Those who don't have creative prompts. They don't even know what to type in. They just excited about the idea. They sit there in front of their keyboard like a bunny with a fitted cap on. They don't know. They can't do this shit. Next slide.
If you do it.
Next slide.
But as an artist, I've never been fascinated by money. It's more about the art.
Steel Bangles. Just do what you're doing. The money comes in abundance.
That's all I care about. The money comes. That's what someone told me a long time ago. Just do what you're doing. The money comes in abundance. But as an artist, I've never been fascinated by money. It's more about the art. That's all I care about. The money comes. That's what someone told me a long time ago. Just do what you're doing. The money comes in abundance.
To drive all of this home, today we talked about many different topics involving a lot of decisions that are affecting the way that our music sounds like today. A lot of those decisions are from voices that are pressuring the creatives, whether those are suits, whether those are playlist curators who don't know what it's like to make music, don't care what it's like to make music, don't understand the creative process. There's a lot of decisions that are being made these days that are changing the way that music sounds. And for those looking for a solution, I don't think that you need to look in the direction of the suits, the playlisters, or even the fans. I think the fans have probably more value. I think the fans have more power than the other two entities because ultimately where their money goes is very important. But I think this falls on us creatives. I really feel like this falls on us. Because when you're dealing with suits who look at you as having this disposable ability of creativity, anybody can be creative. Anybody can give me a hot song. Anybody can follow a formula. Ain't nothing too good. They always look at you as someone who's going to eventually need them and eventually need to come back to them. But something happens when you stubbornly do it yourself. Something happens when you say, you know what? I'm not going to do this in spite of you. I'm not going to do this to be the opposite of you. I'm going to do this because I need to do this. This is within me to create the way that I create. I think that at some point they have to readjust, because once you are moved by something as a creative, once you put your heart and soul in what you're doing, it changes the texture of your music. It changes the decision making of your music. It changes the length of your music. It changes the mood of your music. And when you change all those elements and it has a physical and spiritual effect on you, what do you think is going to do to the right listener? And when that right listener feels that connection on such a deep level, how many times have you heard a song that has moved you so much you wanted to share it with somebody else? Well, that's how this thing works. They shared it with someone else. When that person says, I am so moved by the music you make, I just need to meet you in person or see you perform in person, that's when that person shows up to a show. When they say, I am so moved by that song, I need to get a zip file, whatever. I just want to have some merchandise. I want to be one of the early adopters. I want to be one of the people that were your day ones. That is music. That is decisions that you're only going to get. That is behavior that you're only going to get from people who are moved by music that you were moved to make, that you were inspired to make, not by things like money. I think that I have a weird philosophy in that I'm not this altruist that feels like money can't motivate you. No, I'm not that. Unfortunately, for those who like, no, I'm not that. I feel like how Arnold Schwarzenegger said one time. Arnold Schwarzenegger said, they asked Arnold Schwarzenegger earlier in his bodybuilding career, they said, what motivated you to like want to become one of the strongest men in the world? And he said, the California girls. Yeah, the California girls are hot. That man pushed all that iron. You feel me? He got as buff as he got because he wanted the California girls. Yeah, the California girls. That pushed him to a certain limit. But at some point, through all that pain, through all that wear and tear on his body, it had to be something more than that. But I do think that those shallow things present a certain level of value for some decent motivation. The same way drinking a Red Bull can get you going crazy on a beat or getting wild on a hook. But it's not going to take you to the home stretch. It's not going to take you all the way home. What's going to take you all the way home is having a why that is much stronger than just money. Money's important, very important. Can't do shit without money. But when that's the only thing that leads you, be careful, because that thing gonna lead you some places that you can't get out of. Those are my thoughts, though. What do you think?
DIY.
It's the California girls. The California girls are the reason why I'm so buff. It's the California girls. Head ass. You old buff head ass. The California girls. That's why you buff? That's why you buff? Yeah. If you're ever looking for that, where he said that, it's in a book called the Encyclopedia of Bodybuilding. The California girls. Head ass. Go find you some more motivation. He talk with a strong jaw. He sure do, Lambo. Yeah. I lift 500 pounds. Why do you do that, Arnold? The California girls. Head ass. Get your life, man, bro. Get your life, Arnold. you got to be better than that, my guy. But no, you don't, because you know what? There's been some times where like I get a sync opportunity. I had a sync opportunity one time for $20,000. If you don't think I was in here playing the keys like I never did before, sweeping my hand across it, whoosh, you know what I'm saying? In here just acting a damn fool for that 20 G's. If you don't think I was going crazy for that 20 G's, you out your damn mind. However, after edit number 26, that 20 G's ain't really feel the same way it felt before. Then it became, how much do I really need this 20 G's? How much do I really need it? As crazy as that sounds, it was like, how much do I really need this? This is getting on my nerves. If they ask me, we just want it to be more energetic. One more time. After I've added 42 hi-hats, 72 horns, 16 boxes. What more do you want from me? Like, what are we doing? That 20 G's look a whole lot different. You be sitting in here like, everybody else around you like, man, just wait till you get that money. It's going to all change everything. No, it ain't. No, it ain't. No, it ain't. You know what they don't talk about money? You know what they don't talk about? You know why nobody wants to say this about money, because it sounds like so prude, and it sounds like, man, you saying all of that, but especially like folks from overseas, they look, you and your American problems. They don't like when I talk like this. But here's the truth of the matter. Having money when you don't know what to do with it is a dumbass distraction. When you got no financial literacy and you got time and you got money, it's a distraction. Because now you're thinking about price comparing things that you didn't care about a week ago because you didn't have the money for it. Nobody talks about that. Now you're sitting up here thinking about, should I customize my, do I need a new, When you was broke, you didn't care about none of that shit because you didn't have a choice. Don't shoot the messenger. Money is a distraction when you don't know what to do with it. I might buy me a California girl. I've got money now. Said that head ass Arnold Schwarzenegger. Old man still beat my ass. I'm pretty sure he would. People think that money finna change. Boy, it's gonna change some things, all right. But you better know what you gonna do with that money. Boy, you sound so responsible with money. Before when you broke, you sound, man, if I had money right now, I'd pay off every debt that I have. I sure would. And then I'd probably invest it into some real estate. And shut up. Shut up. Shut up. You finna buy some expensive ass toys and shit. Shut up. All that financial responsibility. So that shit's sitting in your damn account. And you gonna push yourself in further debt. People don't want to talk about that. I gotta say it though. I don't care if I can count. Somebody gotta say it. 20,000 sound real good till getting taxed at 33%. It sound real good when you got a Starbucks bill. 20K sound real good till you do the math and you made $5 and $25 an hour. Come on now. 20K sound real good till you sitting in front of your tax lady and she like, you gonna owe money for this one. Your ass finna owe some money. You like, damn, I ain't even got that money no more. How I owe money from that? How I owe the government for that? It look real good till you had that shit. I did when I was a kid and More Money, More Problems came out. I was like, this song is stupid. It sound good, but this is stupid. What you mean More Money, More Problems? That sounds stupid. But I also didn't have no money. Then when I got it, I was like, oh, that's what they was in there dancing and talking about. The more money you come across, the more problems you see. Oh, that's what you was talking about. I was like, this is stupid. More money, more problems. Like, yeah, whatever. Rich guys. IRS be like, IRS be like, where my money? Run that. They be in the background dancing like Diddy, like, We making all kind of money. All because you bedazzled the MPC with diamonds. Come on, Vex. Come on, Vex. You know the vibes. Bro, I remember the first time I had that feeling. Now that I'm a full-time producer, I really feel it now, man. Get that money and buy 200 Wingstop flats. Yeah, because you want to pay back everybody that had ever did you right. Man, I just wanted to hit you. I just want to hit you off with this 10 G's because, you know what I'm saying, when I was really down and low, you looked out for me. You looked out for me. So I want to give you this 10 G's. Yeah. I also want to hit my mama off with like 15 G's. And I always got this theory. The same thing that you would do with your last $100 or your last 20 is the same thing that you would do with your first 100,000 or your first 20,000. If you have not figured out how to stretch that $20, you're not going to stretch that 20,000. Better figure it out now. I know that sound like old school logic, but you better get that shit underway now. If you can't stretch a 20, even in this economy, if you can't stretch that 20, don't think you're going to do something different with that 20,000. It's just the toys get more shiny. The toys get more expensive. The things you can get. All of a sudden you're looking at the left side and the right side of Amazon. You ain't just looking for the deals no more. You like, I don't even need Prime. Head ass. IRS with that. And then you got them family members that be like, hey, nephew, let me hold $5. I know you got it. Let me hold 5 plus 5,000. I get paid and watch it go to your bills instantly. And more money, more problems makes perfect sense. Yes, it does. A lot of these artists had family support like Pharrell, a break along the way, hustled on the streets, or had good foundation mentally and emotionally without the pressure. There's a sweet spot. I agree. We cannot for a second think that these artists, these human beings didn't come from healthy financial environments sometimes, right? Some folks are taught from a very early age by their grandparents, money don't grow on trees. This is how you do your first. If you can't afford to buy it twice, you can't afford it. Some people are brought with that. But unfortunately, many of us are not. And you can tell by the financial decisions we make when we do get a bag. The worst thing you can do is when you get money is create bills you never had before the money. Hey, Joshua, can we go on a time machine? I know it's kind of weird. Like 10, 15 years ago, I got to tell my old self something, and I need you to be there when I do it. That's so true. That's why they say folks stay in the middle class, is because one of the reasons is that they end up using their funds to buy more debt, using their profit to buy what would be profit to buy more debt. New car payments, a house out of their budget. Yeah. And unfortunately, some of us have to learn from experience. You go from sorting by price, low to high, to high to low. Yeah, you want. You're like, I don't care what it costs me. Give me that. Give me that. Everyday vibes. You said you get it by giving it back. Absolutely. I think that you absolutely got. I believe in paying your tithes. I believe that's important. I believe that when you make it your job, when you make it your business to give back, regardless of what your religious or belief system is, it's going to find its way back to you. I think that that's putting yourself in a place. Oh my God, here go Curtis talking on this abundance talk. That puts you in a headspace that you know, or you expect that I'm living an abundant lifestyle. I have more than what I need, and more is on the way. Especially when you're somebody that's given value on a regular basis. I think that's important. Thing is, with the streets is a dangerous game. Got to watch for them jack boys and cricket cops. Yes, you do. You don't want to. I don't want to be walking around looking like money. I don't want to look. I just want to look like I'm well put together. I don't need that. I don't need that attention. I remember the first time I rode in somebody's Lambo, I was like, bro, I feel like we're target practice. I didn't say it, but I went from like, damn, that's a crazy car, to like, I hope he don't got to stop for no gas nowhere. Butterfly Doors. I was like, oh. You feel different. I was like, oh, I don't want all the attention on myself. I'll tell you this, the best thing I've started doing as a self-employed producer is investing in my health. That has to be the biggest improvement beyond an equipment. I debated about doing a story about rest in peace to Big Pokey, Houston legend who passed away at 45 while performing. I don't even want to like make content. Like that's where I draw the line. I don't want to make content about it because it's really easy for it to come off the wrong way, especially when you monetize stuff like that. I'm not criticizing nobody. I just had to really sit back and think on that one. So maybe this is an opportunity for me to just talk about this off the record. You may know him from Sitting Sideways with Paul Wall. That's where I was first introduced, but this is someone who's been a staple in Houston, Texas for quite some time. And he was performing. He's 45, bigger dude. And as he's performing, you kind of hear on the microphone, he's getting heavy in the breathing, and he just collapses. And like they're rushing to him, they're doing CPR, and eventually he passed away. And something about seeing that after coming home from the tour we were on, I just got off of a tour where we just did Vegas, we just did Fresno, Bakersfield, mostly a West Coast tour. It's been a second since I've done that kind of traveling for my music. And I'll tell you this, I had to be so conscious about finding the places to eat healthy as a rapper on the road. Right? And I'm somebody who I've had better days that I've done with my health and where I'm at. I've had better days. I'm not saying I'm the healthiest person in the world. I was vegetarian for 10 years and I broke that this year. I'm getting back to it now because I don't like how spacey my brain feels. I don't like how cloudy my brain feels and how like lethargic, and I gained a lot of weight. With that said though, as I was watching that, I don't know why, but that really hit me seeing that, because I'm 38 and 45 is not that far away. It's still a relatively young age to go out. So when I saw that, I started thinking about how unhealthy sometimes the lifestyle can be. Even going studio to studio, how unhealthy it can be, because it's only bullshit open when we record music at night. No matter what the city is, it's only bullshit open. Aside from the grocery stores. That's why I think it's important if you ever get on tour to get yourself to a grocery store, get a cooler, stack up on that stuff, get the good stuff that you can get, better stuff than the fast food, because everybody cooks their shit a different way at these fast food places, and try to get as much adequate sleep as possible. But man, it's easier said than done, especially when you're out there, or you've never been out there. It's easier to say that. But being out there, I got a refresher how easy it is. Like, and I don't even smoke, but if you smoke, if you doing the like the vapes and all of this shit, like, I'm not saying anything about weed smoke. I got a lot of friends that smoke weed, but the food preparation when you're going hotel to hotel, it's just not meant for us. Our lifestyles as rappers on the road, our producers, we're at home. When you really look at it, let's zoom out. It's not meant for us to live for a long time. When you think about this, like sitting down, I think they say sitting down takes 10 years off of your life. Whatever your expected lifespan was, sitting down on a regular basis takes 10 years off of that. We're literally sitting down to make music. I'm sitting down to deliver this content. It's just the equivalent of smoking a certain amount of cigarettes too. So that's something that I hope moving forward, our generation, those who are younger than me, your generation, I hope we really do. I'm encouraged to see Gen Zers doing it, but I really hope that you do take your health serious, more serious than generation before me and our generation took it. Cause seeing that, bro, that shit is, man, that's a cold way to go out, man. I saw a video where, and you don't want to speculate because it's too early, there's no autopsy, but there was a doctor who was saying that based upon the breathing and based upon how he fell and how he lost consciousness before he fell down, he was able to dice it down to like 3 different heart attack types that it could have been. When it's your time, it's your time. You can't avoid these things, but I think that it's not a reason for us to mail this shit in either. So, at least he did. At least he went out doing what he loved. I agree. I love that. But I also think about those who loved him, who are relying on him. And I would love for us to be able to get smoothly into our 60s and 70s as rappers and producers. I would love that. That's idealistic in a lot of ways. But I think that bringing these things up may make all of us take a second chance, just to look at our lifestyle and see, all right, what is not setting me up for the long term? I'll tell you this, that shit got me back in the gym. I didn't feel like going today. I went back in the gym. It's got me looking at my portion control because I eat a lot in one sitting because I spend a lot of hours in front of this computer. Got to do better. I'm not going to be here forever, but damn it, I can be here. I cannot add to the damage. I can control that. Cloud9 said, man, he's not lying. My doctor literally had a conversation about that with me last year before we went through these lifestyle changes. Yeah. Air fryer. Yeah, that's important. We got the air fryer here too. Mental health is tied to physical health. Man. The stuff you put into your body and do to your body affects your brain and ability to discern. And I know there's times where, like, I tell my wife, I'm like, anytime she bring, like, these cookies from Stater Brothers, I'm like, why you bring them devils in the house? Why you do that? I had a sweet tooth. I know my brain, and I had a cookie today, regardless of what I'm telling you right now, because some of those decisions have to do with mental health and the need to want to enjoy my life. Enjoy, like, oh, it's not that serious. Not right now. But we're all, this is the last thing I'll say. We're all, and we know this, we're all a result of many decisions that we made before we got to this destination. So the way that you change that is to prepare yourself to make many decisions in the right direction. And so I hope just by putting that out there, I'm not trying to change nobody's life. Just by putting that out there, I just hope that it can make one small decision that can have a little bit of a domino effect into what we're doing. Dog, I just want us to be here. Live our natural life. I don't want us to be shot down. I don't want us to be stressed out by this industry. I don't want us to overwork ourselves as DIYers. I don't want us to eat ourselves into the grave. I don't want us to not enjoy our lives either. But shit, at least let's bring it up. That's it. I had on that piece of pie today. I was finna give in. Look, I get it. I ain't judging. Had to take health serious after I did one of the blood pressure cuffs on a whim and found out I have hypertension. Cut down the salt and all that and been training. Man, I'm glad you made those decisions though, Chris AK. Right now, that's me right now with sleep apnea. I've always been a snorer. But got the sleep machine, and I'm like, man, I really don't want to be wearing this thing. This makes it hard to sleep, but yeah, I needed to do that. And so I've been making the adjustments. It's been kicking my ass for sleep, but making the adjustments and figuring it out because it's just way too important. If you love your art, I think the greatest gesture of love for your art is love for yourself, love for those that inspire your art, and also too to see the value in you being here longer. I know that hip hop doesn't really promote older age as a positive thing. I know it's a lot of folks who build narratives about after a certain age you need to get your ass out of here. But I guarantee them same people that are saying that will want a whole lot more grace than they're giving folks who are getting older right now when they get older. So I try not to even listen to that shit. You young, you feeling it, that's what's up. Eventually, shit gonna happen so quickly. You're gonna look up and somebody gonna call you an OG. And you gonna be like, what the hell did that happen? When the hell did that happen? Just make sure in the process that you're preparing yourself to be here for the long term. That's it. That's all I got to say. I ain't here to preach. I just want to react to some videos. Hopefully you enjoyed it. This was fun. I really, really genuinely appreciate every single one of you for being here. I hate y'all that pass gas in the studio and be clearing us out. Oh, nasty inside ass mother effers. Yeah. I'm one of those that did that. I ain't even gonna hold you. I didn't did that for sure. People know, don't give Curtis King no diet. Don't give him no dairy. Don't give him no dairy. I dare you give me dairy. I dare you give me dairy. Jay Starks, much love, bro. I dare you give me dairy. It'd be the last time. VG Stellar said, I was just called an old head for the first time over a couple months ago. I was at a show. VG Stellar, I got a better one. I was at a show about 6 months ago. And first time I popped up outside, I've been in the studio, I've been here making content. I'm at the venue, and the person on stage was like, man, we got an OG in the building, man. We got somebody, bro, like when I was a little younger one, man, he was the first person to man, we got a super, he's an OG, man. Shout out to the, and like, I'm looking around like, damn, we must got a real OG in the building. Like, where's he at? This nigga said, Curtis King. I said, hey. Watch your mouth. Watch your mouth. I'm looking around like, must be one of my OGs in here. Hey, watch your mouth. He did it on the microphone. Hey, put the microphone down. I want to holler at you. That sounds like some old head shit to say. Let me holler at you. Holler at you, young blood. I swear I'm calling you Unc when I meet you, Curtis. I feel weird about that one too, but I just have to learn to accept it and just leave it alone. You mean it as a term of endearment. My wife did tell me though, she said she saw a picture of me in all white and she's like, damn, you like a cool uncle. I said, what? What you mean by that, wife? Because my wife is younger than me. What you mean by that? No, you just like somebody cool uncle. Ain't nobody ever said that and got some. OG and Unc, both, but old head is fight worthy. Yeah, you don't want to fight none of them. They got them heavy hands. Curtis was ready to throw them elderly hands. Hey, you watch it. Giovanni, watch it. Hey. You know what? That ends the stream. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. Crazy when you think about it. We going from students to the teachers, OGs. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. What do you say? Bro farted rapping about big booty girls once, and I fell out laughing. Chris AK, I got a worse story for you. I tell you, I got all the stories. I got something better than that. I ain't even trying to compete with you, but that's crazy. That's a crazy story. Your homie farted in front of some big booty girls, and I fell out laughing. How about this? I'd never forget. I was in there. I was on a basketball court in middle school at Curtis Middle School. I was dribbling. And there was this one girl I really had a crush on, and she's double dutching with her friends, and they was double dutching between the courts. And I was in there, I ain't score a point the whole game. And boy, I got the ball, and I was like, she looked over at me. I was like, oh, it's my time. I hit him with the jab, hit him with the Allen Iverson crossover. At least I thought I was. And then I went up to lay the ball up. It felt like it was in slow motion. I laid the ball up. Not only did I airball the layup, but I let out the most dustiest fart that was undeniable that it was from me, because I was so nervous about missing it in front of her, and she heard it. She heard it. She said, ugh. And something about that just felt, I don't think I ever recovered from that. Something about that was like very loud, even though she probably said it like really casual. She was like, Passing gas and laying up air balls is crazy. Look. Wait, your school was named after your alias? No, I was named after my alias. It was Curtis Middle School. That's a real middle school. That's why it's spelled with 2 S's. It was named after a pilot named Glenn Curtis, I think it was. And it's Curtis Middle School. That's where I get half of my name from. It's from my middle school. That's the one that I airballed and gassed it out. Needless to say, they moved their double Dutch session somewhere else. I bet if she sees me today, she's like, how's life been, Harry? Boy, Charlotte, come on now. I ain't do all that. It wasn't nothing wet. It was dusty. It was like, it was undeniable. She said, ugh. And proceeded to double dutch on the other side of the court. I said, there go my chance. She ain't never gonna be my girlfriend. Whole new meaning to airball. Okay, VG Stellar, you gotta chill. Cut it to my soul. It sure did. But airball than the layup is equally as embarrassing. Cause like my teammates are like, I'm never passing you the ball. And my crush is over there like, I'm never talking to you at all. Just sitting there looking stupid. She said, ew, ew. That shit sounded loud in my head. Ew, ew. And she said, ew. All right, that's enough. That's enough. That just reminded me when you said that, VD Stellar. Oh my gosh. All right. We up out of here. Thank you so much. New content still dropping every day as long as we do video content like this. That eel had you at your knees. Yeah. That for sure hurt my feelings. I remember it to this day. Like, that should tell you everything I need to know. I need to let that one go. Hey, yo. Y'all have a good night. I appreciate y'all so much. Let's keep it going. Old head play full court press for 2 possessions. Cherry picking on every damn possession, huh? All right, my friends. Thank you. I will be at you. Make sure you hit the like button on the way out. It's so crazy that we seeing the audience grow. Much love to you for joining us for this session. We up out of here. Thank you. Peace.
DIY.
DIYers, if you enjoyed this content, make sure that you hit the like button and maybe even consider subscribing. Come on, man. Stop being greedy. Go on and let the people know that you enjoy what you're seeing. I'll see you soon. Peace.